Mother or dad?
Tomorrow.
Dad, what is it? Yeah.
Tomorrow, the 1-year anniversary of 9/11. Collect your thoughts. Remember where you were a year ago. We're going to be speaking to somebody from Ladder 118, one of the first the first engine company to go into the World Trade Center. And we'll be speaking with the wife of a guy that I know who perished in 9/11 of the World Trade Center. So that's coming up tomorrow. For Grieper and for the Beast and Goldie, Howard, David, have a nice day in paradise, everybody, on QAM.
Say goodbye, Mo. This is South Florida's only real sports station, WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
And how come I don't hear nothing?
Broadcast group station. And WQAM.com.
We're having a few more technical problems, folks. Pretty unusual for us, but...
Hank, if I had to pick, it's just watching practice every day and stuff that I do, an MVP of this training camp, it'd be Chad Morton right now.
Really?
He's had an incredible camp.
Yeah.
On offense, every time he touches the ball, he's doing a great job. And I've got him returning kickoffs for me. He's involved in the punt return. He's covering kickoffs. He's playing everything. So we've increased his role.
Oh, blows, and so do the Bills. Oh!
Question, tell me what you think about me. I got the gold chains and the fresh white tee. Call you on my celly and I'm feeling horny. And when it's all over, I zip up and leave. Question, if you think you're leaving now, miss, you better think twice cause you ain't dismissed. Look it, you got yourself a pair of nice hips, which means I can ride you like a Titanic ship. Yeah, the top of my head may got grease, but the duds that I wear ain't cheap. Hey, you want a sweet memory, honey? Hop into bed with me. Yeah, all you women, there's plenty of me. Throw your bodies at me. All you women can't get enough of me. Throw your undies at me. Hey, for you, honey, I'd pay good money. Throw your brassiere at me. Just don't holler that I gave you dollars to hop into bed there with me.
902 at 560 WQM. How about those Patriots, baby?
Oh!
All right. 30-14 doesn't even come close to telling you the nature of the game. It could have been like 90-3. Could have been the final score. How about Tommy Brady, baby?
Oh!
I'll tell you one thing.
He is a stud.
Make no mistake about that. I'll tell you, I sat so close to that TV screen last night.
He is a stud.
I mean, like my eyes are almost, they're flaming. You know, what did you just fax me this last hour? Did I leave it sitting back there, the last hour of the log?
I didn't just fax it to you. I faxed them all at once.
I see. So, in other words, well, maybe it was because I sat like an inch away from the TV screen checking out Tommy Brady's
He is a stud.
puss. I still have that front cover of Sports Illustrated. What was the date on this, George? I'm sure you have one at home. Sports Illustrated, Super Bowl MVP Tommy Brady is right there on the front cover, naked with a big football in his arms. And then on page 35 is that picture, a picture that is like for the Hall of Fame, with his head in his hand and that dimple on his chin. In fact, I have that big picture of Josie Theodore right in here. I'm going to have to take a poll amongst myself on that deal. But at any rate, speaking of a poll, look at that poll from yesterday. Good golly.
Hey, within 4.
No, you're not. Or yours just must have refreshed before mine did. I only have 1,014 votes. How many you got?
16.
Ah, now why would that be? Why are you getting like a
because
quicker...
it alternates. They refresh at a certain rate, so sometimes you'll be ahead, sometimes I'll be ahead.
I see. Well, this one, I just clicked the refresh button, and this one's taking its damn sweet time.
Me too, for some reason.
We took a poll yesterday on George and his job filling in during the summertime for me, which I thought was by far and away his best job this summer, in spite of your horrible calls. There you go. I got 1,017.
Me too.
How did George do filling in for Neil this summer? And we got a battle going on. It's still going on. I'm almost tempted to leave it up there a few minutes. No, seriously, it's within 4 in terms of
right.
between
We can get it
grade
within 14 if you leave it up there 5 more minutes.
Well, there was a real peeing contest going on. We can't say pissing contest. There was like a real tinkling contest going on all evening and night. I mean, when you get over 1,000 votes on a weekday poll on this show, you're talking some serious heavy duty. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm sure Eric is delighted.
Why is that?
He's getting all these hits.
Yeah. What, he's getting paid by the hit?
I'm sure. Isn't that the way it works?
1,017 votes. I don't listen when George is on. 337. Now, no matter how the actual, total comes, that's a little under a third.
You turd.
Remember yesterday in the early going, it was like almost 40%?
Right.
And I told you that was because that one guy that hates you like poison was voting over and over. He was going through the effort of rediddling it. I mean, the guy's a basket case. I don't listen when George is on. 337. Excellent job, better than ever. 333. Only a 4-vote gap. Man, it is so tight, it's tighter than a witch's
rectum.
Ass. Tighter than a Rimmer's wallet. Good, 162. Okay. 96. Weak, 62. And fair, 27. And you didn't think fair deserved to be a category on there. Wait till you hear today's poll. What you already did hear it. But there's so many different shades because I want to give an opportunity to do their thing. So I guess that's it for the one from yesterday. I don't see any other change going on there.
No.
No, but seriously, if you add up excellent job, better than ever, plus good, plus okay, I mean, you wallop. I mean, only 33.1% didn't listen when you're on, which means that 67% did, even the ones who thought, it was kind of weak. It was that's what we're looking for. I mean, if you can keep 2/3 of the audience, I mean, it's no Joe Zagacki, but nevertheless. Here's our, look at that, 1,024.
Yeah, see, one big chunk.
Quit while you're behind, okay? I don't listen when George is on 341. Excellent job, better than ever, 335. Like I said, close it out. When in doubt, let's close it out. Here's the poll for tomorrow, or for today, for now. Because tomorrow, and see, I don't really give a crap, although it'd be interesting to take the poll, because I'm probably going to do, unless the poll is just overwhelmingly in one way, negative, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not just going to go along with it, jump on the bandwagon. I'm just not going to be another one of these, everybody else is doing it, I'll do it too. I'm not going to do that. In addition to which, has there been anybody at QAM, has Clarence, our make-believe program director, or your close personal friend Greg, or even Ray Perry, has anybody darkened that door, or...
You're actually asking?
Forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. That would be my response. So, the fact that Kevin Baxter has this article in the Herald, Clear Channel will forego commercials tomorrow. Who the hell are you people kidding, okay? You're a bunch of axe-murdering assholes who've stabbed more people in the back than anybody I've ever seen in my life. And you're going to, make brownie points tomorrow? People are destroying the radio industry from coast to coast. Everybody who ever even owned a little transistor radio knows that. Knows about Cheap Channel, which even uses that term in a goddamn story. Who are you kidding, Kevin? He's listening right now to this show. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Make no mistake about it. Who are you kidding, Kevin?
Forget about it.
Right. So anyway, here's the poll question. Because I got a lot of stuff here. I'm going to get all wound up. I'm going to get backed up a little bit. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, this is the poll, Eric. Pay attention now. Put down the cheese and bacon croissant. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, it would be, and then here's 1, 2, 3, 6 choices.
Wow.
Well, don't you like that when we give them a whole... How many did we have yesterday? Oh, look at that. This page cannot be displayed. There must be a rush. On, no, seriously, they must be foaming at the mouth to get on it before we close that out. No, only 2 more. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, which is yesterday, I mentioned that I'm thinking about doing that tomorrow. Not to be disrespectful, not because there was anything funny about 9/11, but as a place for people to come who don't want to be just overwhelmed with this morbidity. Like I hear Mo, he's going to have this firefighter and this one. How much of that do we have to hear and see? See, it would be one thing if a few days after 9/11 last year, the coverage would have stopped. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
But there hasn't been a single day that we haven't seen weeping relatives and wives and husbands and daughters. I mean, I'm not making light of their suffering or their misery and the barbarity of the grotesque, unacceptable act. I'm certainly not doing that. But when you're inundated with it, it reaches the point of, what is there to keep rehashing again? That's my feeling about it. God damn it. You think I'm ever going to get to this poll or what?
Oh, just,
Hey,
no
guess
rush.
what? Guess what?
Forget about it.
If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, it would be unpatriotic, sensational, boring, disrespectful, better than rehashing last 9/11, or in bad taste.
Okay.
I think personally that covers it. We could put something on there about Tommy Brady.
He is a stud.
Is it disrespectful and in bad taste kind of similar?
No.
Here we go again?
No.
Okay.
Now you're nitpicking again, like fair and weak, see?
Fair and
Fair
okay.
is not that bad. Fair is like, menza
okay.
menza. Cosi, comme si, comme ça. By the way, we decided this morning we're going to nuke the French.
Oh!
No, seriously, if the criterion is going to be that, countries who harbor terrorists are going to be the enemy and we're going to nuke them into the Stone Age, the French for decades,
right,
for as long as I've been alive, they've been notorious. They never met a terrorist that they didn't like.
Right.
They always give refuge to the unacceptable, to people that nobody else will take in. Where did Roman Polanski go? Didn't he go to France?
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah. So they
harbor every
They harbor
asshole,
pedophiles and terrorists and scumbags and, of course, frogs. Yeah.
And they sank that ship, that Greenpeace ship.
Right. That's right.
Nasty
so let's,
scumbag.
before we worry about Saddam Hussein, let's nuke the French. Let's take care of them first. Frickin' Jacques Chirac. Not to mention, of course, Jean Chrétien. Froggy. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow night, it will be, here are the choices again, Eric. This is the last time because this is getting really ponderous. Unpatriotic, sensational, boring, disrespectful, better than rehashing last 9/11, or in bad taste. Like that. Here's the good news. Here's the most important story of the day. Make no mistake about it. Because you're going to feel a lot better once you know this. American Idol winner Kelly Clarkson is still scheduled to sing the national anthem at a 9/11 youth gathering in Washington tomorrow, contrary to some media reports, according to the head of a charitable organization that asked her.
Oh!
She is definitely singing, said Melissa Helmbrecht, founder and CEO of Champions of Hope, the youth service group that organized the United Day of Service. The ceremony at which Clarkson, 20, will sing concludes a day of service for youth across the country. Persons from age 5 to 25 will participate in volunteer projects in their communities, such as collecting food and cleaning up graffiti, said Dave DeChico, communications manager for Youth Services America, which is helping to coordinate the event. Some confusion over Clarkson's status likely began with several articles that noted that her management company, 19 Entertainment, a producer of American Idol, had agreed that the winner of the TV competition would sing at the event. The news prompted some criticism that 9/11 was being commercialized. Oh, God, we don't want to do that. This did not sit well with Clarkson, who maintained she wanted to stay away from anything that suggested marketing on 9/11. If anybody thinks I'm trying to market anything, well, that's awful, the New York Times reported her saying. I'm not going to do it, not going to shill on 9/11, in other words. But a press release issued Monday by 19 Management, a division of 19 Entertainment, read, Kelly Clarkson will sing the national anthem 9/11 in Washington, D.C., God damn it. As she previously said, she's honored by the invitation. Media reports to the contrary are incorrect. Damn it all, you scumbag yous. So isn't that good news? She's going to sing it after all.
Oh, I feel so much better.
Good. That's our idea here on the show, to make you feel a little better, lighten it up a little bit, not to get morbid, not to dwell on all the negativity, not to get, because that's what they wanted. Remember how everybody kept saying that? That's what the freaking scumbags wanted, is for us to get morbid and depressed and have this defeatist kind of attitude, and, I don't think we need to go through all of that again. I mean, if you want to, be my guest. Go right ahead. And as far as, and I'll get to that Clear Channel story in a moment, and boy, who the hell are they kidding, huh? Of all people. And then, of course, Power 96 with their little punk listeners. What was the term? I'll get to the story. That Kid Scurvy uses. They're playing inspirational music. Oh, brother. Inspirational rap music tomorrow on Power 96. Your good close friend Kid Scurvy is saying that. Who's he kidding? And they're going to be handing out free pictures of Anna Squeak's ass. Huh?
I'll be in line.
I bet you will. 9:13. In fact, Kid Scurvy was telling me his favorite memories of that short-lived marriage was when they used to dance cheek to cheek. 9:13 at 560 WQM. Have you heard the news about the 3.95% mortgage? It's true. If you've been thinking about it, don't think. Do something. Do something smart, which is the last thing Todd Dreck would do because he's a putz. Now's the time to purchase a home or refinance your existing home at the incredibly low rate of only 3.95%. If you have a 7.5% mortgage, the 3.95% rate would save you over 3.5% or over $3,500 just the first year alone on a $100,000 mortgage. So make things easy for yourself. Who sang that song? Make it easy on yourself?
I don't know.
I think the Righteous Brothers.
Okay.
Pick up the phone and call Financial Group at 1-800-940-LEND. That's 1-800-940-5363. Getting yourself a mortgage someplace else is going to cost you a ton of cash every year. Think of all the money you can save when you have a 3.95% mortgage. Financial Group has helped thousands of folks just like you put your financing in the best possible position in the universe by getting a 3.95% mortgage. Call Financial Group right now, this second, 1-800-940-5363. That's 1-800-940-5363. Equal housing lender. Credit restrictions do apply and rates are subject to change if you wait too long.
Live and local. This is Sports Radio 560. QAQAM.
Honey Doc is Dolphin Danny. Oh!
I can remember back when radio was cool. I said when I grow up, that's what I want to do. But now it's run by greedy corporate holes and suits that only care about the bottom line, not you. They are omnipotent, their power has no end. Because the CEO is Daddy Bush's friend. Consultants so expensive for using here instead. Baby, oh no. Your brain was wired up
sure did, man. There were a bunch of butchers. We'll get to them in a second. There's Richard Butler. Remember? Hello, Paula. Remember Richard Butler, the former UN Chief Weapons Inspector?
We were under the most difficult political circumstances.
He says that Scott Ritter is, well, basically...
He's an asshole.
And he's right. Didn't I tell you that yesterday, that the man has no credibility? And then come to find out, in listening to some of the commentary during the evening last night on the 85,000 newscast in between watching Tom Brady and the Patriots kick ass, he's supposedly doing a documentary over there, which is funded by the Iraqi government. And even the story we had the other day said that his trip over there this time is sponsored by the... Scott Ritter is to weapons inspections what Peter Arnett is to journalism. And I think pretty soon Scott Ritter's going to start standing in front of scenes where it says Baby Milk Factory behind him. I could be wrong about that. With little arrows. Oh, there's another one over here, and there's another one over there. Don't they have Scud missiles in most Baby Milk factories? I would think so. So
forget about it.
Right. Now, what is this thing about Ola Maricon? Your Windows Media Player line is down again. Can you go back to Real Audio? What happened to the archives? I don't know anything about that.
Of course not, but it said Ola Maricon, so I'm sure it was for you, so I thought I'd fax it right along.
No, but seriously, what does that mean?
We don't know. We don't care.
Oh.
I just wanted you to put that out there on the air. Not that he can listen because the Windows Media Player.
Oh, that's because our Windows Media Player is down again.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened to the archives? That's a broadcast.com thing that has nothing to do with that.
And by the way, Eric, there's only one S in rehashing. Better than rehashing last 9/11. And if you take that extra S out of there, that'll give you room, like back it away from the number that's going to be in there eventually. I just mentioned that in passing. Oh, we got some votes on there already. I didn't even realize that it was actually up.
I voted.
If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, it will be sensational 4, better than rehashing last 9/11 3. Those are the only two categories with any votes yet. I mean, some asshole will say, oh, that's in very poor taste. And then maybe somebody from the station will probably be saying in the hallways, well, he just doesn't want to go along with us. Nobody has said anything to us, like I said before, that the station has got any plans. I already got the story about the poll workers in Palm Beach. And don't forget it's Erection Day.
Oh!
Just to be fair, by the way, I think I recall something like Clarence asking me if we were planning on doing anything special.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't think so.
When was this?
I don't know. It was a brief moment, and I'm sure I was busy. And that's why I don't remember.
Like last week or something. Hey, Clarence.
Forget about it.
Butt out of this show, okay, Clarence? Don't be getting involved with us. We got more goddamn technical problems than you can shake a stick at. We can't even get the show on the air right every day, but that's probably somebody's fault. Probably George's fault.
Yeah.
Clear Channel will forego commercials on September the 11th. Oh, man, are we impressed by that or what? Pete Bolger.
He's an asshole.
The assassin. This is the article by Kevin Baxter in the Herald, okay? This is another one that passes for a radio column. This Kevin Baxter, we had some hope for him in the beginning, and I think it was misplaced. Pete Bolger, the assassin, was just beginning his workday last September the 11th when he was called out of a meeting to look at television coverage of the first attack on the World Trade Center. Probably it was one of those meetings about who they were going to stab in the back again that day. Then all of a sudden, this gray streak comes in from the side, and it was obviously a jet airliner crashing into the other tower, Bolger remembers. At that moment, no one really knew what was happening, but we knew it was going to be a very busy day. So in other words, when the second plane hit the South Tower, nobody knew what was going to be happening? What was going on?
Apparently not.
I see. Well, evidently he didn't, because he's a moron. Anybody didn't know it was a terrorist attack when the second plane hit? It had to be some kind of a marblehead, some kind of a mumblemouth, some kind of a backstabbing assassin like Petey Bolger. Make that a very busy week. As program director at WIOD, the only English-language news talk radio station in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale market, Bolger oversaw nearly 3 days of continuous coverage of the terrorist attacks on America. Now, of course, on WQAM, after Muff blew it in the beginning, and of course it was Geldy's fault.
Papa, what are we going to say about it? Jay Fiedler, Dan Marino, Jimmy Johnson, what are we going to say about it?
And, of course, the sports nerds continued on for another hour till 9:45 until finally the embarrassment factor set in, and they stuck me on the intro of the fact that we'd been under terrorist attack, and to, put the audio on from the networks, put some people on here who knew what the hell was going on. That was not one of the stellar days in the history of QAM, I'll tell you that. But we'd like you to forget about that. But at any rate, once we got into it, didn't we do exactly the same thing, if probably not better, because we stuck pretty much, other than giving out local emergency numbers and whatever, right?
Right.
Anyway, and that coverage, much of it commercial-free, which is the same we did because Joe Costello had the cojones to go ask Greg, or tell Greg, hey, shouldn't we get those spots off the air? Nice going, Joe. Yeah, because Joe, being of Italian descent, from Sicilian descent, he had the cojones to go in there and make Greg an offer he couldn't refuse. The coverage was simulcast on WIOD 6 Clear Channel sister stations, making News Radio 610 an important source of information about an event that'll mark a generation. With my generation, it was the Kennedy assassination. With my sons, it was the World Trade Center. Bolger said, I get a little emotional just thinking about it. I get emotional thinking about you, Pete Bolger, and what an asshole you are, and what you have and all your cohorts have done to the radio business, and to most of the people in it who worked for your company, who hate you people like poison. On Wednesday, WIOD, along with 16 other Clear Channel stations from Vero Beach to the Upper Keys, will again broadcast commercial-free to commemorate the one-year anniversary of the attacks. And they're not alone in wanting to mark the anniversary in a special way. WLRN-FM, the national public radio affiliate for Miami and Fort Lauderdale, is planning a full day of special content, while other stations in the market will be altering their programming in ways big and small. Country music, WKIS-FM, for example, is also going commercial-free most of the day, though program director Bob Barnett says that's partly because few clients wanted to buy airtime on 9/11. We'll take the spots, Bob. We'll put them on this show. You know, we're not going to be hypocrites. Who the hell's kidding who? We're in the business to make money. From the agency level on down, there was peer pressure not to run spots that day, says Barnett, whose station will run a mix of patriotic music and montages of listener comments. There's no point in trying to force commercials in if nobody wants to run them. Most of the business has moved to other days of the week, so it's not like we've lost business. I'm sure there's a price tag on the lost inventory that's pretty substantial. Isn't that great that we're making this tremendous sacrifice?
Yeah.
But unlike the Clear Channel stations, which issued a press release announcing their commercial-free programming, Barnett is almost hoping that listeners don't notice. It's just back-patting and chest-thumping that is simply trying to capitalize on the event, he says.
Absolutely correct, sir.
I don't know the guy. If he walked in this studio right now here in Toronto, I wouldn't have any idea who he was, but I'd pat him on the back and say you are...
Absolutely correct, sir.
That's not the way to go. September 11th is about remembering and memorializing. He said, not capitalizing on it. He's absolutely right. That's what Cheap Channel's trying to do. They're grandstanding. Contemporary music station WPOW, speaking of grandstanding, Kiss's Beasley Broadcasting sister station, will go without commercials or DJs tomorrow while tweaking its playlist to favor tribute-type music, according to program director Kid Scurvy, who said that Anna's ass was bigger than a bread box. That's largely in respect to my DJs. He says they came to me and said, what am I going to do? Kind of like Johnny Fontaine. What am I going to do? This is a different day. The station will also run tape listener comments, while its website will carry the names and pictures of the nearly 3,000 victims of the terrorist attacks at the World Trade Center and elsewhere. Sounds like they're also trying to capitalize on the event, you know it? Sports talk station WQAM, another Beasley property, has been interviewing prominent athletes for their takes on September the 11th. They will air those vignettes Wednesday in place of regular sports updates. Aren't you impressed by that?
Much.
Don't you want to hear what a
dumb jock
has to say about world events?
About anything, quite frankly.
The station also plans to run a markedly lighter commercial load. A lighter load tomorrow.
Dumb jock.
Here on QAM. How do you like that? Would you give us time to play more bits if we decide to do that? Meanwhile, urban music outlet WEDR. I guess I better do the break, huh?
Okay.
38 votes on a poll. Better than rehashing last 9/11-19. Sensational 12. Boring 4. And bad taste 2. Disrespectful 1. Unpatriotic none. 0 so far. Me being the unpatriotic son of a bitch, the relentless bastard that I am, you know? Just don't want to go along. And it's got nothing to do with being unpatriotic, but you vote whatever the hell you want, okay? Or disrespectful. It's got to do with giving people an alternative. Some place to go for a few yucks to live their lives, as opposed to getting mired down and rehashing and rehashing and rehashing and on and on and on. Here's another body. Here's another people crying. Haven't we seen enough of that the last year already? I have.
Quite enough.
And this business that somebody is going to...
Forget about it.
That ain't going to happen. There isn't anybody in the world that's ever going to forget about it who was watching TV that day or lived through it. Anyway, calm down. Look at that, 9:27 at QAM. Mattress shopping? Forget about that. You know, mattress shopping the old-fashioned way?
Forget about it.
Good thinking, because if you pick up your phone and call 1-800-MATTRESS, you get the best deal all the way around. You get name-brand mattresses. You got the tops in the world, Serta, Sealy, Simmons, King Coil, and you got the lowest prices in the world as well. And the delivery, it's unbeatable, because they'll come right to your home whenever you want them. 2-hour windows, noon to 2, 1 to 3, 2 to 4, any day, 7 days a week when you're going to be home and it's convenient for you, instead of sitting around on your ass all day long praying that somebody just might show up. And they give you that 30-day in-home comfort guarantee to try out your mattress the right way. If you want a great night's sleep, night after night for years to come, do what I always do. When the old mattress has had it, pick up the phone and call the bedding experts. You can't get a better deal all the way around at Dial-A-Mattress. 1-800-MATTRESS, 1-800-MATTRES, or check them out on that wicked World Wide Web if you like at mattress.com.
Live and local. This is Sports Radio 560. QAM.
A bastard.
Don't say we're tough on crime.
No.
is fine.
Oh, we're fine.
People will say you're on drugs. Don't say inflation's down.
All right.
Don't say you're safe in our town. In fact, don't be hanging round. People will say you're on drugs. Don't stop if you get lost, unless you like eating bugs. Don't say Ross Perot is God. People will say you're on drugs.
Yes.
I want to give you a kiss. Here's the guy who sucks, okay?
Okay.
You call that a penis?
No.
Don't walk on the city streets without hollow points or flat slugs. Don't say much of anything. People will say you're on drugs.
Are you sure?
9:34 at 560. Boy, we're getting way behind. You know it?
Why?
Because I screwed up there. Because I got carried away, and I still haven't finished this story. Meanwhile, urban music outlet WEDR, South Florida's top-ranked station, one with a long history of community outreach, will open its phone lines to listeners throughout the day, and General Manager Jerry Russian will host a special edition of his open line talk show, What's on Your Mind, to discuss 9/11. Oh, that's what I've been my whole life living for here. Jerry Russian analyzed 9/11. You too?
Well, I wanted to hear what Tom Joyner had to say about it.
Yeah, and not only that, but what about Greg Reed? David Ross, Clear Channel's regional vice president for South Florida and a major asshole, says the decision to give up commercials could cost his station group, Cheap Channel, $246,000, a significant amount for a company whose penchant for squeezing every nickel through syndication and voice tracking, taping a program in one market for rebroadcast as a local program in several other markets, has earned it the nickname of Cheap Channel. I wonder where Kevin Bastard heard that. We'll lose some money, Ross says, but I think it was the right thing to do. Not everyone agrees on that point, however. Mike Disney, station manager for music stations, we use that term loosely, PYM, Party Radio, and of course the party's over, and the Coast, says he'll be, how come it doesn't mention hot?
I give up.
Because Kevin's an idiot. Says he'll be conducting business as usual, dropping only promotional announcements. And 11 of the stations under Ross's directions, primarily those in the Keys, found their advertisers enthusiastic about running spots tomorrow, claiming it as their patriotic duty. Not running spots, stopping your revenues, slowing the stream of commerce to your advertisers is a victory for the terrorists, says radio consultant Walter Sabo, a resident of New York City, in an interview in the daily trade newsletter R&R Today. Walter freaking Sabo. Oh, you don't have to play that. That's coming soon, man. Walter freaking Sabo. The attacks were specifically against financial institutions, Sabo says. The goal was specifically to disrupt our economy. With or without spots, most radio station managers agree that something needs to be done to mark the anniversary. Dennis Collins, another schmuck, senior vice president and general manager of Adult Contemporary Life, Adult Contemporary my ass, Slush Life, and Oldies Magic. Oh, I didn't realize that they own Old Magic. No wonder it sucks so bad now.
Huh?
Says his stations will observe a moment of silence at 8:46 a.m. at the time the first plane struck, followed by a playing of God Bless America. Both stations also plan to suspend promotions and contests and screen their playlist carefully, but other than that, listeners probably won't know that. Screen the playlist on Life. You ready for that? So in other words, the Carpenters won't be singing Rainy Days and Mondays, because it'll be Wednesday. It'll be subtle, Collins says. We've thought long and hard, and we've consulted our corporate officials, listeners, and advertisers. I've talked to everyone about what they think a radio station should do, and we've decided to stay the course, show everyone how resilient we can be. Plus, we can't afford to lose the money, I'm sure is what he's thinking. You know what I'm talking about? As for WLRN, it plans to continue 9/11 themed programming that it began last week. And it goes on. There you go. 60 votes on our poll so far. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, it will be better than rehashing last 9/11, 29. sensational 15, boring 9, in bad taste 5, disrespectful 2, and unpatriotic so far none. None. How do you like that? And you know, every one of those 63 people, plus all the other ones who are going to vote no matter what they vote, they'll be listening, they'll have their ear glued to it. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
So if there's anybody who isn't going to like what we do here tomorrow...
Forget about it.
Right. U.S. not claiming Iraqi link to terror in the Washington Post today, as it makes its case against Iraqi President Saddam Hussein. The Bush administration has for now dropped what had been one of the central arguments presented by supporters of a military campaign against Baghdad, Iraq's links to al-Qaeda and other terrorist organizations. Although administration officials say they're still trying to develop a strong case tying Hussein to global terrorism, the CIA has yet to find convincing evidence despite having combed its files and redoubled its efforts to collect and analyze information related to Iraq, according to senior intelligence officials and outside experts with knowledge of discussions within the U.S. government. By the way, did I mention that Scott Ritter's an asshole?
Yes.
Oh. Most specifically, analysts who have scrutinized photographs, communications intercept, and information from foreign informants have concluded they cannot validate two prominent allegations made by high-ranking administration officials: links between Hussein and al-Qaeda members who have taken refuge in northern Iraq, and an April 2001 meeting in Prague between 9/11 hijacker Mohammed Atta and an Iraqi intelligence agent. It's a thin reed, says a senior intelligence official describing the information in both cases. You know who he was talking about when he said it's a thin reed?
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah. You hear what I said?
I heard it.
Greg.
Good. Thin on intelligence is what he was talking. As a result of the CIA's conclusions, the Bush administration has accepted the notion that its stronger case against Iraq is Baghdad's apparent ongoing attempt to acquire chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons. President Bush is expected to focus on this aspect during his speech Thursday to the UN, in which he will present the administration's Iraq policy. And even on Sunday, on Eat the Press, there was Cheney saying, oh, well, it's not so much about terrorism. It's regime change that we're looking for. You following what we're saying?
Yeah, I heard that before.
Regime change. In other words, when in doubt, we want him out. It's got less to do with the fact that he's got nukes, that he's got this, he's got that, because there's nothing new really going on there right now, which we'll get to eventually. By the way, don't forget it's Election Day. Vote early and often. That's my suggestion to you. Vote for Bill McBride. He's one hell of a guy. He's a swell guy. Remember that great story I had about him yesterday?
That's right.
He's a hero, man. Even Enrique did a song about him. He's Enrique's hero. My hero, George's hero. Vote no on, what is it? What number is it? 214?
Something like that.
On the Christian hate thing in Dade County. Be sure and vote on that. Because the last thing you need is the embarrassment of, although, you never know what's going to happen with that.
242.
242. Vote on 242. And Bill McBride in the Democratic primary. Janet, we like him a lot, that Janet Reno, but he's just got no chance. Like I said, he couldn't win a one-horse race that was fixed. Just one of those things. Doesn't make him a bad guy. Oh, there's Tony Blair.
It's all set out in the United Nations reports. For the last 4 years, of course, there have been no inspections. No monitoring.
Jelly.
Despite constant pleas and months of...
I'm telling you, W's definitely got naked pictures of him and the old queen. Or some old queen, anyway. 20 till 10 at 560 QM. We got the Mad Dog, Jim Mandich at 1. The Humper, Hank Goldberg at 3. 4:30, another short show for Hank. Nice going, Humper. This man, I'll tell you, he works an hour and a half a day. He's getting a better gig than I am, really. Marlins on deck at 4:30 because it's an early game. The Marlins at the Phillies. Is it at the Phillies or is it a home game? Do we know?
I don't know.
At the Phillies. It's got a little... 5:30, doubleheader. That's why they're starting early. Eddie K after all of that, if you can handle that. And Joe and Mark, the Dirty Boys, overnight, 2 to 6 in the morning. Joe Costello had the balls to go to Greg Reed and said, we're not running any spots today, last 9/11. And Greg looked, you know what Greg said to him when he walked up to him? Same thing he always says. He kind of like that, and then Joe came back and said, scratch the spots. Joe kind of took over that day like a good Italian boy should. Hey, anyway, let me tell you about becoming a computer professional. This is where the money is, guys, and if you want to get yourself a real job making some serious cash, this is the deal. Now, how do you find a good school that'll help you accomplish all of these things? There's one school that's got 4 convenient locations in Dayton, Broward, including the new one in Kendall. That's what Todd Dreck has been telling me. There's one school that's got certified Microsoft instructors, convenient day, evening, and weekend classes. There's one. In fact, I asked Todd, are you going to give me some new copy?
Forget about it.
That's what he said. One school that's got full-time job placement department with over 30 years experience. With this school, you can complete your program and get certified in just 4 short months. We're talking hands-on training, and that school, of course, you got to know it by now, is Fast Train. In fact, I asked Todd before the show this morning. I said, Todd, you going to do any work this week? And he said,
forget about it.
So get off your butt and pick up that phone and call Fast Train toll-free. There's no obligation. They'll be happy to answer all your questions and tell you how in just 4 short months you can say goodbye to your dead-end life and start getting a real job with some real paychecks coming in. Call 866-FAST-TRAIN toll-free. That's 1-866-FAST-TRAIN. Or check them out on the web if you like at fasttrain.com.
Live and local. This is 560.
The radio's all yours now.
QAM.
Media is sick and needs help badly.
All right. Well, he's a Tallahassee Nazi. Who got the money from his daddy? An anti-Semite little bratty. With an agenda that's crappy. Well, he's a Tallahassee Nazi. Of FLA. Well, he's a presidential son who doesn't have to run. No one else is gonna win. He might as well just move right in.
Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil.
He has a golden spoon. He was born with up his ass. So look out, all you Jews. Get ready for the gas. He's a Tallahassee Nazi. He'll give our civil rights a whammy. Cause he's a Tallahassee Nazi. Of FLA. Well, he's a very wealthy dude with very fascist views who never paid his dues. By next year, we'll all be screwed.
Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil.
Any schmuck could win that race against Buddy McKay. Why do you think they call it gubernatorial anyway? He's a Tallahassee Nazi. He'll make the KKK happy. Yeah, he's a Tallahassee Nazi. Love of FLA. Come on, let's do step. Come on, Adolf. Let's go.
Forget about it.
It's a lie. I am not a Nazi.
Sure, that's what they all say. 947, that's what John Ashcroft said, too. You know, Hermann Goering Jr.? 947 at 560 WQAM. Here, somebody faxed me Lynn Samuels' article about all the people that have died in America since last year. Cancer, heart disease, accidents, suicide. I might just actually have to read that. I read it on her website. Nice going, Lynn. Love you. WABC screwed her over and fired her ass. Can you believe that?
I believe it.
Maybe they're going to bring Mr. Ego back for another go-round. Anyway, David faxes and says, how do you do in the noon to 1 hour against Rush in the ratings? Please tell me you have higher ratings than that political racist. Thank you. Yes, we do. Although he's just starting to make some inroads on us because we're bashing Bush too much on this show for the Bushies. So they're going over there and hearing what they want to hear. They hear him a little, and then Bill O'Reilly, who's spewing all the incorrect information, you know, with his ego. Mm-hmm. By the way, I tried to watch some of Donahue last night. Boy, you talk about heavy duty. I'm watching the Tom Brady show there, the Patriot game. I'm watching Cronkite there squeaking and squawking. You know, it was really funny. I told you this before the show. So King, the Kingmeister, had Walter Cronkite on there, who's 185 years old and can barely speak. But he asked him if he thought that the media coverage this week was like overkill and there was too much going on. And he said yes. He said, you know, last year was one thing because it had just happened, and that's all that anybody wanted to know about, and et cetera and so on, and rightfully so. But he said now it's just become obnoxious and it's way too much and over. And then, of course, Larry had that sad look on his face and kept promoting the fact, oh, well, we got special 2-hour coverage on Wednesday and a 2-hour show tomorrow. And then on every break, they would have, like, you know, pictures either of some wife crying or of, you know, the bombs bursting in Oregon, you know, the buildings blowing up and those huge smoke clouds, etc. I mean, yeah, it was ironic. But at any rate, so I did get over to Donahue for a little bit here and there, and he had John Walsh on.
Yeah,
John Walsh will be on. Oh, you saw a little of that?
I saw a lot of it, actually.
I'll tell you something. The problem with Donahue is that he's become a fumbler and bumbler now.
Yeah, I noticed.
He's not good. I mean, I used to like him when he was on. You know, he was the pioneer and all that other crap. But he fumbles and bumbles. I mean, at least O'Reilly, whether you know, forget about the content because nobody cares about content. He's slick and he's glib and he pretends he knows what he's talking about. You know, and he puts everybody down. He's got a big mouth. But Donahue like reaching for something to ask or something
tripping
to say.
over his tongue.
Yeah, he's not good.
Maybe he needs more
good.
practice. He's been out of it a long time.
I'll tell you one thing. He better practice real fast. You know what I'm saying? He better practice real fast and real soon. Otherwise, it's going to be, hey, Phil, it was a nice try, but...
Bye.
Yeah. So anyway, I did see a little bit of that and felt bad. But John Walsh was on there. I'll tell you. And also I saw the last 3 minutes of John Walsh's debut show yesterday, which I didn't even realize it was on one of the local channels here. I think it's on, I don't know whether it was on the CFTO. I don't know who the hell had it on. Saw the last 5 minutes of that show. So he's all over the place. He's got his own syndicated show. He's on Fox still Saturday nights, of course, with America's Most Wanted. And I still say we need a cable channel that does that 24 hours a day.
Right.
America's Most Wanted, Disappeared
Right
Kids, and round the clock. The John Walsh
the
channel.
Wanted channel.
Right. Or as the president would say, the Wanted Dead or Alive channel. So let's see how that poll is coming. 96 votes. Pretty soon it'll be a nice even 100, which makes it easy to figure out. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, it will be better than rehashing last 9/11, 52. That's 54%. Sensational, 21. That's 22%. Boring, 13. In bad taste, 8. Disrespectful, 2. And unpatriotic still has no votes for unpatriotic. Well, that's good. You think it would wound me if somebody called me unpatriotic?
Unpatriotic.
Bastard. And you know what I would say?
What?
Forget about it.
That's what I would say. So anyway, it's Election Day. Like I said, Reno and McBride neck and neck in governor's race, which is why you must go out, everybody within the sound of my voice, and vote for Bill McBride today. The most hotly fought Democratic primary race for governor in Florida since the 1980s is being decided today, in a test of which candidate can entice more of their core supporters to go and vote. Battling to the finish for the Democratic gubernatorial nomination, frontrunners Bill McBride and Janet Reno unleashed final hours get out to vote. See, if she's putting on this lackluster campaign that everybody's talking about, she's got no money, it's been a horrible campaign. If she's doing it now in the primaries, you can just imagine the way that the Jepster would steamroller over her shaky hands in the general election in November. Which is why they're crapping their pantaloonies up there that McBride's going to win this. State Senator Darrell Jones of Miami, in a distant third, also returned to South Florida yesterday, fighting as the only black candidate for governor in modern times for a share of the frontrunners' votes. Don't waste your vote on Darrell Jones, by the way. All you Schwarzers out there, vote for Bill McBride. He be your man. I'm a tactician. I'm a fighter pilot, Jones told supporter. Well, we don't care what he said. He said, I'm the best prepared candidate. And everybody said, oh, yeah, sure. On the eve of the primary, Reno McBride cranked up massive phone back and leafleting operations, revved up crowds of loyalists, and flaunted endorsements from influential party leaders. The race ends as a regional contest, South Florida against the rest of the state. Reno counts on big margins of votes in Broward, Dade, Palm Beach, and Monroe to overcome McBride's apparent advantage throughout most of Florida. Mike Mayo actually had a column worth talking about the other day. Can you believe that?
Well, if you say
About
so.
twice a year he writes something meaningful, especially now since he's not just a sports nerd. McBride must thank Bush if he dances to victory, wrote Michael Mayo on Sunday in the Sun Sentinel. He said, oh, ask Bill McBride, or what does it say? Ask who is Bill McBride, and people will say, oh, the guy who dances on TV. See, I had my in the wrong place there?
Oh.
Yeah, that was the word I had in the wrong place.
Oh.
The guy who dances on TV. This is how clueless some people are. It also shows how negative campaigning has totally boomeranged on Governor Jeb Bush and the Republicans. In being so concerned about McBride, the Republicans have boosted his recognition to the point where they're about to get precisely what they didn't want. McBride is the Democratic candidate for governor.
All right.
The attack ad seems to have run more than all other McBride and Janet Reno ads combined, at least in South Florida, and to what end? The ads, which feature a pair of tap-dancing feet, it makes me think of Willie T. Ribbs, you know it? Accused McBride of using tricky accounting in his campaign and mismanaging his former Tampa law firm, causing layoffs. They were meant to be a preemptive strike by Republicans who view McBride as a greater threat to Bush than Reno in that November general election. No Schmidt. Now the ads look like a premature strikeout, a miscalculation that completely backfired. Since the ads began airing last month, the McBride campaign has picked up incredible momentum. The latest polls show McBride overtaking Reno going into today's gubernatorial primary with a race too close to call. And don't look now, but here comes the specter of another Broward election mess. If the victory margin is in the hundreds, and enough Broward Democrats complain they never got their voting cards or found their proper polling place, this could get 2000 presidential ugly. And don't forget about Palm Beach, which I got that story coming up, about poor Teresa Lepore. How can she still be there? Anyway, Michael Mayo says it's hard to say if the attack ads and McBride's surge are related, but you wonder if McBride would still be working to make up the identity gap against Reno if the Republicans hadn't bothered running any ads at all. They made the name McBride known, perhaps proving the old adage that bad publicity is better than no publicity, and some could have mistaken ads as an attack by Reno, turning off those who heard her promise not to sling mud. Yeah, I've talked to some people like that who thought that those were Reno ads.
Right.
It's not until the end in small print that astute viewers see Republicans paid for the ad, along with the exhortation to vote Jeb Bush for governor. The ads have made McBride's chances seem legitimate. In the last week, he counterattacked with ads wondering what Bush is afraid of, highlighting the theme that Bush doesn't want to face him in November, and guess what? He is
absolutely correct, sir.
In other words, a candidate who just weeks ago was looking way up at Reno in the polls is now looking past her. McBride is better organized, has more money than Reno, which could prove to be the deciding. Reno rides around in her quaint red pickup truck. McBride crisscrosses the state by plane. He's picked up most newspaper endorsements along with key political and union backing, and his political savvy is showing with his overture to perhaps bring Dade Mayor Alex Pinga Pequena on board as his running mate. Well, Pinellas is the one person who might be able to cut into Bush's support among moderate Cuban Americans, partly because of his role in the Elian Gonzalez saga. These voters wouldn't support a ticket that included Reno in a million years. And again, you are
absolutely correct, sir.
Although the coupling might alienate some Broward Democrats and Reno supporters who view it as pandering, McBride is probably willing to bet they'd still vote for him in November. He can still sell the ticket to Pinga Pequena haters by asking if they'd really have 4 more years of Bush. Reno was stalled after running a fuzzy, stealthy grassroots campaign that rests mainly on her resume as U.S. Attorney General under President Clinton, federal prosecutor in Miami, and devoted Florida native. She set out to show the people that people, not dollars, determine elections, but this is the real world. You need dollars to get out the people. McBride got the dollars for more TV ads, and the Republicans spent on him, too. They tried to tear him down, but it looks like they inadvertently built him up. Who's Bill McBride? The guy who dances on TV might soon be tapping on the governor's door, says Mike Mayo in Sunday Sun Sentinel. Nice going, Mike. About time you wrote something worth reading. 9:56 at 560 WQM. This show is flying along, baby. I feel like we're like on some kind of an acid trip here today. You know what?
I'm feeling really good because Gary Sarner just brought in food from the Macaroni Grill.
Forget about it.
Hey, you know, summertime is here. You need all the energy you can to feel really spiffy in spite of the heat and humidity and the rain and just all of that mung in the air, all the mold and mildew. Oleomed can help you feel good no matter what's going on outside because Oleomed has got good stuff in it. Oleomed is a soft gel capsule loaded with pharmaceutical-grade olive oil and vitamins and minerals and herbals to promote all different kinds of health for all different parts of your body. They got one product specifically designed to help your prostate, one for your heart, for your blood pressure and cholesterol, one for your circulatory system, your digestive, your endocrine system, your skin and bones, even your mind. Was that the same Gary Sarner that was going to get me that new copy for VIP.com and didn't do it?
That's the one.
I see. All using the benefits of the best olive oil that money can buy, and Oleomed helps helps both men and women too. Now, what I just said, I think so.
Forget about it.
Oleomed's available all over town now. It's available at Walgreens, Whole Food Markets, Navarro Pharmacy, and Sedano's. And if you want to get more information about what these products are all about and what they do and where you stick them, just call their toll-free number, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. 1-866-OLEOMED. That's 1-866-OLEOMED. And you can order those products right on their world-famous website, if you like, at oleomedamerica.com.
We're Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Hey, it's Howard. Howard Sperm.
Oh! Yeah, I'm Walter Sabo in a black sedan. Oh, won't you hop inside my company car? I got the ticker, the tax, and eating out of my hand. I'm gonna make you a radio star. I'm Walter Sabo, baby. I can do anything I wanna do. I'm your consultant woman, and I'm gonna be consulting you on giving bad boy, on a crap show, and a formula that's got to bore ya. I've got the power to mold and control you.
Yes.
Whoa, you know I do. Well, I have a way to get you your own show at a station down in Hollywood. And I don't care if your ratings are low, just as long as you can stroke me good. I'm Walter Sabo, baby, and you'll do anything I want you to. I'm your consultant woman. Spread your legs when I desire you. I'm gonna bone ya and own ya. I'm a dumb slob, can't get a real job. That's why I'm a consultant, 'cause I'm just an asshole.
Forget about it.
10:01 at 560 WQM. Never were truer words spoken, man. There was one of the ultimate radio assholes, Walter Sabo. I'd like to see him elope with Pete Bolger, you know what? And maybe David Ross could be best man. Or Janet Reno. Anyway, it's 10:02 at 560 WQM. We got 127 votes on our very important programming poll today. You better get on there because it's your opportunity to have some input in this show. Right? If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, it will be better than rehashing last 9/11, 66. Sensational, 28. Boring, 15. In bad taste, 12. Disrespectful, 4. And now unpatriotic's got a pair, 2 votes. We didn't want to have any category with no votes because it would have made me look stupid by putting a category on there that had no votes.
Forget about it.
You know what I'm saying?
What are you saying?
I think I'm going to read this Lynn Samuels piece, okay? I love Lynn Samuels, and she loves me. We have a mutual admiration by long distance. Anyway, she wrote this a few days ago, and, it's going to sound a little bit cynical and a little bit hard-bitten, etc., but, we have a lot of emotional cripples out there, and a lot of people easily manipulated, like the God Squad, and the professional right-wingers and left-wingers and professional wingers, Deborah Winger. Anyway, she writes, attacked by 9/11. Since September 11, 2001, about 2,400,000 people have died in America. Cancer, heart disease, accidents, suicides. Some of them were children whose parents had to suffer watching them die slowly from disease. Some of them died because doctors or nurses were not vigilant enough and made mistakes. Approximately 42,000 died in car accidents, 15,000 of those killed by drunk drivers. All of these people are dead. All those family and friends grieve for them. They didn't get hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they didn't write books and make the talk show circuit. They remember their loved ones in private. They cry alone at night in bed, not on Larry King Live. Politicians don't hold memorial services for them, which coincidentally remind people that their election's coming up. The TV networks don't call somebody who had cancer for a year a hero and devote hundreds of hours of programming to them. Barnes & Noble doesn't open an hour later, Marshall's 2 hours later to honor them. There's no escaping this orgy of exploitation and wallowing. It's not enough to say keep the TV off Wednesday because it's already started on radio, TV, the Sunday papers, weekly magazines with their special issues, the special display in the bookstores of 9/11 books. And yet does anyone insist that the government, which is after all supposed to protect us, have a commission to find out why this happened? Of course not. Does anyone plan to ask the unelected ones why we have not found Osama bin Laden as he treks from crash site to crash site Wednesday? Of course not. Those 2,800 people died because of inefficiency, stupidity, egotism, and self-interest on the part of the government and its agencies, whose first job is supposed to be to protect its citizens. Those deplorable traits are all alive and well in Washington, D.C. a year later. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Yes, it was tragic for the families, children growing up with no fathers, fathers losing sons, lovers lost to one another, but it happens every day all over the world to people with brown skin and black skin and yellow skin. It's called life. It is in the self-interest of the government to keep us in an orgy of grief and remembrance so we'll forget to ask them any questions. It's in the interest of the media to wallow so that they'll not have to think about asking any real questions. It's really a national disgrace. It's a diversion of the worst sort, bread and circuses. I, for one thing, I'm going to get on a bus and go to Atlantic City next Wednesday, wrote Lynn Samuels.
That's an excellent piece. Why were you mulling that one over?
I don't know.
That's excellent.
And of course it's excellent. Isn't that what I just said? Didn't I preface it by saying it was a magnificent piece and that I love Lynn Samuels? But we have a lot of emotional cripples out there who are like, oh, my God, that's disrespectful, that's too cynical. Well, because there are a lot of assholes out there who can't handle the truth. They want everything sugar-coated, like the stuff I read last week about how we built up Iraq and supplied them with all their chemical and biological agents and so on. We sold it to them. We built them up to what they are now, just like we built up the Taliban. And then they turned on us, just like when Hussein invaded Kuwait. Oh, now you're a bad guy. We invent these loose cannons, they get out of control, and then we concoct reasons to go in and try to remove them. I said to George before the show today, why don't we just, if we're going to be serious about eliminating tyrants all over the world, we might as well attack Libya. The story I had yesterday said Gaddafi is getting closer. He's closer to nukes than Hussein is, and North Korea, and everybody else, and the French, like we said before. And while we're at it, Venezuela, they got all those oil wells, and they can't get their act together with their freaking government. What are we talking about here? So the fact that I find, even though Scott, what's his name, Ritter, has got no credibility at all, I think he's full of crap. He's a puppet of the Iraqi regime. But nevertheless, who the hell do you believe? They want regime change. When in doubt, they want him out. They had their chance to get him out 11 years ago, and of course Bush decided not to do that. But now, for whatever reasons, of course, you do understand it's not because we have an election coming up in November.
Oh, I know.
Understand
I
that.
know, of course. You liberals, you keep saying that.
And, of course, the speech Thursday to the UN, they're going to give them, they were saying before, about 3 weeks to let the inspectors back in and to do whatever the hell the UN decides, whatever meaningless resolution they draft. And if they don't go along with it, even Tony Blair was just saying moments ago, we'll give you an opportunity to go along with comply with the UN resolutions, whatever we draft up on Thursday, whatever we make. And if not, bada bing. Now, 3 weeks from now is what? 17th. 24th, about the 1st of October is 3 weeks from now. You follow what I'm saying?
I follow.
You're following the timing of this?
Yep.
Boys and girls, the election is scheduled for the 5th of November. I don't want to say that the timing, if they would have done this several months ago, I'd have said, well, okay, maybe I'm not convinced, but, maybe it has to be done. Because, let's face it, I don't think anybody with a brain wants Hussein to be there any longer. 1 minute longer than he's got to be. But the timing of this, there's an aroma, there's a stench of cow manure coming from it, baby. And you're right. We can't really pin anything, and we can't tie him with Osama Yamama, and we can't find Osama Yamama. In fact, I got a story in here that's very disturbing about the fact that they're reorganizing in Afghanistan. Here it is from the New York Times today. Al-Qaeda fighters said to return to Afghanistan, where we supposedly did such a wonderful job. U.S. intelligence officials say al-Qaeda operatives who found refuge in Pakistan are starting to regroup and move back into Afghanistan less than a year after a successful American military campaign forced them to flee their one-time sanctuary by the thousands. The movement back into Afghanistan is still relatively small and involves Qaeda members traveling in small groups, the officials say. Most of the thousands who escaped Afghanistan after American-led forces defeated the Taliban government are not seeking to return. Instead, they remain scattered throughout Southeast Asia and the Middle East, creating a terrorist diaspora that's now of deep concern to American counterterrorism officials. Some have found havens in Iran and Iraq, although American intelligence officials are divided over whether they're receiving active support from either country. Oh, there's another one, by the way. How did we forget Iran?
Oh,
and
well,
And the latest Ayatollah. How do we forget about them?
Small potatoes.
Still, no, they're not. They're big potatoes. Still, American officials say the world's largest concentrations of al-Qaeda operatives are now in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and the recent influx into Afghanistan is creating new dangers. Al-Qaeda members are believed to have launched a series of small attacks against American forces in Afghanistan in recent weeks and may have been behind the attempted assassination of Afghan President Hamid Karzai and the deadly car bombing in Kabul last Thursday, according to Afghan and American officials. So we got a long, long way to go in terms of Al-Qaeda, in terms of the Taliban, in terms of these scumbags. I remember last year after this all happened, and they were all pontificating, and we're going to do this, and I remember Rumsfeld making that speech. And we're going to go find them in their beds where they sleep, and we're going to kill them when we find them, and they're going to do a lot of things that, you're not going to hear about and we wouldn't want to tell you about. Do you really think that's going on?
No.
I don't either. I don't believe it for a second.
They don't even know the difference between the good ones and the bad ones. We keep blowing up the wrong ones.
And you know something? I can sympathize with them on that, because when you look at these schmata heads, how do you tell which one is the good guy and which one's the bad guy? They all wear the same headgear. They all got the same freaking beards. How do you really know?
You don't. Let God sort them out.
That's not a bad idea. When in doubt, let the Lord sort them out. 142 votes on our survey now, because we're approaching tomorrow, a day when a lot of people are going to put on a big dog and pony show for you. I mean, Power 96, I got news for you. I don't want to pee on Kid Curry's grave, but let's face it. Power 96, they're going to be, what did he say, alternating between spirituals and gospel or something like that. It was close to that.
Inspirational
rap. Inspirational rap, which of course we all know rhymes with
crap.
Of course, they play that every day, is what they basically play. That's what Disney would tell you. Although Disney, you ain't one to talk, baby, because the party is over. Numbers on that station from their Ford Darude records, they're done. 144 votes. Didn't I just say 124? 144. Coming in chunks now. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow 9/11, it will be better than rehashing last 9/11 72, sensational 33, boring 18, in bad taste 13, disrespectful 6, and unpatriotic still's only got a pair. I guess the one thing I can feel fairly safe, it will not be unpatriotic, among all things. And I sure as hell wouldn't want to be unpatriotic, would you?
Forget about it.
Right.
Speaking of unpatriotic.
Yes?
Wait till you read the story that I'm faxing you right now.
About?
It's a surprise.
Okay. Here's one that's a little bit of a surprise. Hometown paper likes Harris, the Florida official, but not Harris, the candidate. Remember our good, close, personal friend, Katherine Harris, who allegedly was real close and personal with our governor? Katherine Harris, the former Florida Secretary of State who played a front and center role in the election fandango of 2000, is a heavy favorite to win a seat in Congress, writes the Washington Post's David Vandrelli. But for the first time in her electoral career, she's running without the support of her hometown newspaper. 4 times the Herald Tribune's recommended Katherine Harris an election for public office. The Sarasota paper began in an editorial published yesterday. The recommendations were made with reservations, sometimes with trepidation, but always in the hope that experience would help Harris harness her extraordinary energy, bring clarity to her views, and teach her to avoid those embarrassing blunders. That hope has vanished. On the plus side for Harris, the paper called the one-time state senator tenacious and industrious and acknowledged that she's an icon in the eyes of many Republicans across the nation for staring down Al Gore over the vote-counting deadlines. On the minus side were the references to startling lack of clarity when Harris discusses public policies and desultory responses to questions. So what are Republicans to do in today's primary? On that score, the Herald Tribune throws up its hands. Harris's only GOP opponent, former anchorman John C. Hill, doesn't earn the endorsement either. We offer no recommendation, the paper concluded. Poor Katherine. What are we going to do about that poor bitch, huh? Of course, she's not running by us anyway, or by you. 12 minutes after 10 at 560 WQAM. It's the dog days of summer, man. It's still the same old stuff, you know, even officially on the calendar. If your hair is blowing all the time, if you're tired of too much blowing, well, here's the answer for you. Do something about it. Because, you know, that big bald spot, guess what? It blows. Here's what you do about the bald spot.
Forget about it.
That's right. Go see my good buddy Charles Alfieri because he's got the latest technology that helps you look like what you wanted for a long time. A great-looking head of hair and a younger look as well. So get the natural hairline you've wanted for a long time today. And now is still a smart time to call because it's still summertime and the summertime special is still good. Mention Neil Rogers. They'll knock $300 off the regular price. And Charlie services and repairs all types of pieces, too, while you wait for as little as $30. So if you're wearing some mousy-looking muskrat like Bob Eisenberg on your head or some powdery-looking thing like Mo, forget about that, too, because Charlie will make you look better. So here's the deal. If you don't love the way it looks and feels, we're talking about Charlie's natural hairline system, and you're not getting laid at least 4 or 5 times a day, Charlie will give you a full refund. So wait no longer. Get rid of that bald spot and get you a great-looking head of hair for once and for all. You know what I'm saying?
Forget about it.
That bald spot. Don't forget, mention my name. You'll save $300 when you call 1-800-321-2413. That's 1-800-321-2413. Or log on to their website if you like, if you can spell it, at charlesalfieri.com.
This is Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Fudge packing?
We'll be the millionaire who's running for the president, who likes to party but denies it, of course. All you gotta do to watch him dance like Fred Astaire is ask him if he ever tooted a snore. He's a cocaine cowboy, George W. Bush won't admit that. He's a cocaine cowboy, watch GWB tap dance, 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 dance. His son of power, this is what he used to do. So stop confusing him with the truth. He's got to be a sanctimonious Republican whore and move on with his rhetorical views.
Forget about it.
See, he's a special interest puppet of the Christian right, so there's only certain things he can say. Cause it's the same old rich guy with the same old life. And too much Bush is not a good thing anyway. He's a cocaine cowboy. George W. Bush won't admit that. He's a cocaine cowboy. Watch GWB tap dance, 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 dance.
Maybe it runs in the family. Anyway, the story you just faxed me, I'm delighted that somebody faxed this to us because I almost mentioned it earlier. CNN had a blurb on this about Noel.
I missed it somehow.
And I saw it, but of course I couldn't hear the audio because I was busy, talking. And it just said something about July 19th, which was her previous arrest, you know?
Yes.
So I didn't know what the hell it was, and luckily we waited and we found out. But before that, in regard to the repeal effort by the Christian Coalition, the anti-fag thing on the ballot today in Dade County, vote no on question 14, touch number 243. George gave erroneous information before, which we know there was a commie plot. What?
I was reading it off of another fax.
Well, I'm sure that this bag, or whoever this is, it's from Sharon. Well, I'm sure Sharon knows what she's talking about. Touch number 243. It says, please correct this. You gave out the number to vote yes. Well, we certainly don't want to vote yes.
No.
We want to vote 243. Vote no on question number 14 on the hate amendment in Dade County. Okay?
Sorry.
Better save that. Better say that. Don't do that again, George.
I won't.
Or I'll be talking to your good personal friend again. Just when you thought he was going to...
Forget about it.
I might stir his memory a little bit. Orlando police find cocaine on Governor Bush's daughter. How do you like that? On Election Day, no less. Boy, this is a bad omen, you know it?
Yeah. It's too bad she's ugly. She sounds like a fun girl.
Governor Jeb Bush's daughter was found with cocaine at a rehab center where she's undergoing drug treatment in Orlando, police said today, Election Day. Police were called to the Center for Drug-Free Living in Orlando late yesterday, where workers gave them a substance they said they found on Noel Bush, 25, Sergeant Orlando Rowland said. Sergeant Orlando in Orlando, how do you like that? The workers told police that the two... How's Orlando doing?
Oh, God.
The workers told police that the 2 grams of powder tested positive for cocaine, but police didn't immediately arrest her because they couldn't obtain a sworn statement that she was in possession of cocaine, Rowland said. The governor asked about his daughter before going into a Florida cabinet meeting in Tallahassee, said he wouldn't discuss her with the media. This is a private issue as it relates to my daughter and myself and my wife, he said. The road to recovery is a rocky one for a lot of people who have this kind of problem. I don't have any details about what happened. I just found out, he'd be saying. The investigation will continue, said Rowland, who added that police hadn't interviewed Noelle Bush as of this morning. Possession of any amount of cocaine is a felony, police said. In July, Noelle Bush was found to be in contempt of court because a worker at the treatment center found her carrying prescription pills. A judge sent her to jail for 3 days. She was arrested in January at a Tallahassee pharmacy drive-through window for allegedly trying to buy the anxiety drug Xanax with a fraudulent prescription, and George would like some, by the way. In a Tuesday release today, the governor said, my family loves Noelle very much, continues to pray for her continued progress. We again ask the public and media to respect our privacy during this difficult time for our family. Right. The whole family. These are these good Christians, and he's talking about the anti-Christian bias in the media, about Jerry Regier, and about this, and all setting themselves up as better, holier than us. From Neil Bush to George W. with his problems that he didn't want to talk about because it was too embarrassing, and hoping that everybody would forget his variety of problems. And the entire Jeb Bush family, from the little punky one who used to look pretty good. What's his name? George P. George P. Ever see George P? Yeah. And then the other one that was screwing his girlfriend in a parking lot out in broad daylight in some car at a shopping mall in Tallahassee.
In the parking lot. What's wrong with that?
You ever get screwed in the parking lot? Hurts. I guess it depends on where you're parking. Oh, boy. I'll tell you, this poor, see, this is what bugs me. All families have got their thing, But when people set themselves up as holier than thou, whether it's Jim Baker, whether it's Jimmy Swaggart, whether it's Henry Hyde and Bob Livingston and all these other good holier-than-thou penis pointers, and then I come to find out that they're just as bad or worse than anybody else. Everybody's got their crap. You know what I'm saying?
What are you saying?
I say that they're full of crap. That's what I'm saying. I say vote for Bill McBride today so he can knock Bush off in November. Oh, that article I had yesterday about how the country is suffering from Bush fatigue. Boy, never have truer words been spoken. Bush fatigue. When in doubt, get him out. Speaking of somebody who needs to get out, this Teresa Lepore in Palm Beach County. What? This bitch. How can she still have that job?
Pictures.
She must have the same pictures that George W.'s got of Tony Blair. Oh, here's the, Mark Potter.
For contempt for having in her possession some prescription drugs that were taken from a medicine cabinet. She claims
Look at that glaring, the lights glaring on Mark Potter's bald spot. Boy, she looks a mess, Mark Potter.
She's telling the truth.
Is that I just got through with that story. Okay, get out of here, Mark. You're boring me. Voters' questions, poll workers walk out, has Lepore scrambling. Oh, how unusual that is. The Palm Beach County Elections Office was inundated with telephone calls yesterday from potential voters with questions about where to vote in today's primary. The complaints came on the same day that elections officials discovered that about 100 disgruntled poll workers had quit. Meanwhile, Teresa Lepore, elections chief, said she had about the inventor of the butterfly ballot, said she had about 50 operators working the phone lines to answer the deluge of questions that poured in yesterday, but said she would not be able to provide a count of calls handled until after the election. More than 50 calls were also called into the South Florida Sun-Sentinel office in Delray Beach. In the meantime, she said voters with questions can call her orifice between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. today. In other words, now. Additional operators will be on hand again. There are two other alternatives. Voters can match up their precinct number with the correct address in the full-page notices that were printed in Sunday Sun-Sentinel A sections or in the Palm Beach County daily newspapers like the Palm Beach Post A. Or go to the Elections Office website, look it up at www.pbelections.org/news/Pollock.09, etc. Earlier in the day, it was learned that some 100 Palm Beach County Elections poll workers quit over the weekend. The resignations left county elections officials scrambling to find replacements. County Election Supervisor Lepore said the poll workers quit because they didn't like their new precinct locations. Many of the county's polling places changed after the state went through its mandatory once-every-decade reapportionment of voting districts. Even though Lepore said it was explained to poll workers during the 8 hours of training and orientation classes that their poll locations could change this year, many just decided to quit, walk out. It's just mind-boggling, Lepore said. Kind of like that butterfly ballot, mind-boggling. Some called and faxed to let elections offices know they wouldn't show up today. Others didn't leave their names, phone numbers, even their polling places. They just called up and left messages on their election office's voicemail. In other words, I quit. See ya. We've been on the phone literally all weekend calling people that we had on our list, Lepore said. We've used up our contingency list, calling others to see if they'll work. They'll probably go out on the streets and drag people off in the streets to be poll workers today. You want to make a few bucks? Great, you're hired. So there you go. More hanky-panky. And, of course, you know, just like that article said before, the Mike Mayo piece, what if we have a real nip and tuck between McBride and Reno? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, of course, you don't think that those people in power want to see McBride win, do you?
No, of course not.
For once in their life, I can see all these very enthusiastic Republicans embracing Janet Reno. Just putting the old big squeeze on old Janet.
If she'll let them.
Here's somebody they're putting the big squeeze on today. U.S. lawmakers said Martha Stewart news conference this afternoon.
Oh!
U.S. lawmakers said they'll hold a news conference today to announce the findings of their probe into whether Martha Stewart had inside information when she sold ImClone System Shares, Inc. Representatives Billy Towson and James Greenwood have scheduled a news conference 2:30 this afternoon in Washington. Towson, a Louisiana Republican, chairs the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which started probing Stewart's trade as part of its inquiry into ImClone and its cancer drug Erbitux. Greenwood, a Pennsylvania Republican, chairs the panel's Oversight Committee. Towson's spokesman, Ken Johnson, said last week that Congressman would announce his next move in the Stewart probe on Tuesday. That could include subpoenaing Stewart to answer questions, issue a report on evidence uncovered, or referring criminal charges to the U.S. Justice Department, Johnson said at the time. A spokesman for Stewart could not, of course, be immediately reached for comment. 2:30 this afternoon. I hope they nail her ass to a cross, you know it?
Yeah.
And maybe even the rest of that bitch, too. Why the hell not? 181 votes on our poll. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11 it will be. Better than rehashing 9/11. 92, almost 51% said that out of 181. Sensational, 40. Boring, 23. 12.7. They think it's going to be boring. In bad taste, 13. Disrespectful, 10. And unpatriotic, only 3. Only trace. Just a tiny trace of the audience. 10:26 at 560 QM. I bet you Jeff Cohen's going to be opening that brand new pizza loft any minute now, don't you think?
Any second.
What day did he come in last week? Was it like Thursday or something?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, and today, last time I checked, is Tuesday. So any minute now, Jeff Cohen's going to be opening the brand new pizza loft in Plantation. That's the most exciting thing to happen out there in West Broward since I got there. And, of course, they're going to be on the corner of Nob Hill and Sunrise, right behind Walgreens in that little strip shopping center. And I'm sure the food is going to be equally sensational, and the portions equally gigantic and fresh and delicious, and the prices equally teeny and tiny and very impressive. You're going to love the Pizza Loft. Don't forget the original Broward location, still going stronger than ever. They're on University Drive, right beyond Pier 1 Imports. Acres and acres, tons. Wouldn't you say it's acres?
Sure, why not?
Free parking? I would say that's acres.
There's acres, sure. More than one.
A bunch of free parking anyway. Pizza Loft with, like I said, gigantic, fresh Italian goodies, 3 different kinds of great pizza, the best garlic rolls you've ever popped in your puss, all kinds of fantastic Italian dishes, chicken and veal and seafood, super subs, and lots more too. For takeout, for delivery, for catering, for as low as $5 per person, call 954-916-8880. 954-916-8880. That's University Drive right between Griffin and 595, kitty corner of the brand new Armadillo Cafe. And don't forget the brand new one opening any second. I'd keep an eye peeled for it. Nob Hill and Sunrise in Plantation, the Pizza Loft. It's spectacular.
Live and local. We're Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Bush. Tomorrow.
Friday night he's in the White House doing all his presidential biz. He's there in the Oval Office, though he's not sure what an oval is. He's practicing his speech that he's been working on for weeks, should be a breeze. But it's not for a man who thinks that if you're from Iran, you're Iranese. Saturday, he's still no smarter, thinks what's in the center's centrical.
Forget about it.
You could say his brain is useless, kind of like Dick Cheney's clogged up ventricles. Now he goes to give the speech with words his vocab cannot reach. He looks afraid. But he won't tell you how he feels. Instead, he'll talk about some bad mistakes he'll make. But he can't spell, he can't act, crying out loud. Now he can't speak, so what he says is always in doubt. He don't have a clue, no brain in his head, so he just babbles on. Babbles on. Babbles on.
I'm here. It's just that my fax just got jammed up a little bit. I just had to go to lift it up, and the fax cover too. Let's see if that thing's going to print out, because I sure don't want to miss this good stuff. That happened on the Noel story, too. It got like a little jammed. Hey, here's a follow-up to the thing we had yesterday. Very important story. Did that thing print out? One moment, please. Play a little music.
Oh, sure. Still skipping, did you notice?
I beg your pardon?
The mini disc player. It still skips.
It's skipping?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Nobody else is playing it like that. Gordon Lightfoot is going to be okay, by the way. He underwent emergency stomach surgery. Weren't you very concerned about that?
Internal bleeding, yeah.
Hamilton, Ontario, singer-songwriter Gordon Lightfoot, whose hits include Sundown and Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. What? Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Of course, the most depressing song ever made, possibly.
I never heard that in my life.
You've got to be. No, if you heard it, you'd say, oh, that thing. You've blocked it from your mind. Yeah. You've heard it. We'll get Book O'Brien to send you a copy.
Just the thought of it made me sneeze, you notice that?
Oh, it's depressing.
Here's Adam, our sales holder, says, I have a client that asked if you do live spots for them. They're a commercial client, blah, blah, blah. Some of their clients, sure, no problem, Adam. Anything you want, okay? We don't care anymore. Just take the money. Just take the money and run, Adam. We don't care. Whatever you want. Just as long as they don't have cult meetings there in their joint. As long as they got a good joint. Anyway, the 63-year-old Canadian performer underwent emergency surgery Sunday for an unspecified stomach ailment. He had internal bleeding. Well, right. This story, I see this story is like about a couple hours older than the one. It's on the front page of the goddamn National Post, eh? He had internal bleeding. But he's going to be just fine. Aren't you relieved?
Much.
And he can come right to your house and sing that song. What is it again?
The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh, you know what I would do to that song?
Forget about it.
Yeah. Reno turned away from polling location. This is a panic. This is great. The 2002, wait a minute. One moment, please. They don't have to play any music. I just got to blow my nose a little bit. Well, I don't want to, have like stuffed up sinuses. Especially now that my sinuses are so lovely. The 2002 vote in South Florida is not off to a smooth start. Channel 10 News is receiving numerous reports of polling problems. Oh, here we go again. Here we go again. In Florida where they can't get anything right. While polls were scheduled to be open at 7 o'clock this morning, it seems not all places were ready. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Janet Reno was turned away this morning when she tried to vote at St. Catherine Sierra Church on 107th Avenue. She was able to vote later. I think it's important that the voters overcome mistakes made by others or failure to plan by others, the former U.S. Attorney General said. We've had a lot of reports from a lot of precincts that they weren't open on time as required by state law. Apparently, a lot of the poll workers were not familiar with our procedures, said Gisela Salas of Dade County Elections. They didn't understand the procedures that they'd been taught in training and had difficulty opening the machines. Salas said that some workers asked voters to wait outside until all the machines were on, which goes against their policy. She also said that despite the months of preparation that went into this election, they're still dealing with a human element. In other words, a lot of morons. There are a lot of poll workers who are elderly and they're a little bit afraid of computers. They're looking at these machines as if they were computers. And a lot of them were hesitant to get the procedure started early in the morning, and we had to walk them through it. We had to get their walkers out and walk them through it. Oh, God.
The devil lives in computers.
Some voters were frustrated. Others had to leave without casting their ballots. I have to come back after school, and it's difficult when you have a child and you're used to voting at a certain time. The polls are open at 7 a.m. I should be allowed to vote at 7 a.m., said one voter who left. The elections office is now sending out troubleshooting teams and getting on the phone with any workers who are having problems. Oh, God almighty. There's only one thing. We said it in 2000 over and over again, and I guess there's only one thing to say that's true.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Priest suspended for alleged sexual abuse. The Archdiocese, this is a new one.
Oh.
The Archdiocese of Boston suspended another priest yesterday after an allegation of sexual misconduct with a minor was made against him. The allegation against the Reverend Leonard E. Pelletier, pastor of St. Louis de France in Lowell, Mass., was reported for the first time recently and dates back more than 20 years, the Archdiocese be saying. Archdiocese representatives have met with the parish staff of St. Louis de France, and an announcement was planned for Mass last night. A regional bishop, a social worker, and other support staff planned on attending weekend Masses. The Archdiocese said pastoral and counseling support have also been offered to the alleged victim and to Pelletier, of course, because they were a lot more worried about the priest and covering up his ass than the victims. A message left for Pelletier last night was, of course, not immediately returned, says the Boston Globe. Aren't you surprised?
No.
This surprises me. Not. Sacramento Kings star Chris Webber was indicted yesterday on charges he lied to a grand jury about his dealings with a University of Michigan basketball booster more than a decade ago. Not the prestigious University of Michigan. Webber, who led Michigan's Fab Five team to 2 NCAA title games, was charged with obstruction of justice and making a false declaration before a grand jury, FBI spokeswoman Dawn Clenny said. Webber's father, Mace Webber, and his aunt, Charlene Johnson, were indicted on the same charges. If convicted, each faces up to 10 years in prison and a $500,000 fine. How do you like that?
Forget about it.
The indictment contends that Webber, his father, and aunt lied to the grand jury and conspired to conceal the cash, checks, clothing, jewelry, and other benefits that booster Ed Martin gave the player and his family from 1988 to 93. All three testified in 2000. The Kings and league spokesman each refused to comment on the indictment. Messages seeking comment from the elder Webber and Johnson were not immediately
returned.
NCAA spokesman Wally Renfro said Monday night that the college governing body would not comment on the indictment. We don't talk about infraction cases, Renfro said. After Martin's indictment, Webber publicly denied taking significant amounts of money from him and said the government's charges were inaccurate. Martin pleaded guilty and made a conspiracy to launder money. Martin admitted he took gambling money, mixed it with earned income and money given to him from another person, then loaned it to at least 4 players while they were amateurs. Martin said he paid $280,000 to Webber, $160,000 to Robert Traylor, now with the New Orleans Hornets, $105,000 to Maurice Taylor, now with the Houston Rockets, and $71,000 to Louis Bullock, who's been playing professionally in Europe. Traylor and Bullock admitted receiving the money. In testimony to the grand jury, their attorney Steve Fishman said former Michigan guard Jalen Rose, now with the Chicago Bulls, also said in May that he took pocket money from Martin. How do you like them apples, huh?
Forget about it.
That's right, because he's from Michigan. 20 till 11 at 560. Oh, wait a minute. Look, I better do that. QAM.
My and local. This is Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Happy Purim!
Come and listen to my story about a man named Jeb, whose wallet was as big as his pasty swelled-up head. He became a governor and dictator, too, simply by having more money than you. Billionaire, that is. Dirty Deal's ex-presidential dad. In a real gubernatorial race, the other goober's name was Buddy McKay. Had an ill-fitting suit and a skeletal head, and when they took his pulse, they discovered he was dead. Brain dead, that is. No brains, a backwoods rube. Now, Jeb represents the Christian Reich, but somehow got support from the Jewish journal Kikes. Now they're all in a mass grave, buried very deep, and his wife wears a necklace of the fillings from their teeth. Jewish gold. Melted down, of course.
The Tallahassee Millionaires. Starring Heinrich Himmler as Jeb Bush, Ava Braun as Columba, Ariana Huffington as Granny, and Dan Burton as General Burkhalter. The Tallahassee Millionaires, brought to you by Zygon 8.
Forget about it.
1044 at 560 WQAM. Happy Tuesday to it. It's election day. Get out there and do it, baby. Vote 4 or 5 times for Bill McBride. In fact, that wouldn't be bad. Vote 4 or 5 times for Bill McBride and once for Janet. You know, just so you don't feel bad. Huh? Well, he's not a bad guy, that Janet Reno. He's okay, but no chance. And, of course, vote no on, what was it, number 14? Punch 243, in spite of what George tried to tell you before.
It was from another fax.
I don't care what it was from. That fax was probably from Anita Bryant's gay husband. London groups. Now, here's a story. I've seen 85 different versions of the same story, okay? And you can spin this story however you want. And, of course, you do understand that the entire world now is being spun heavy duty.
Now?
Heavy. No, I'm talking these last few days with this Iraq business. I mean, he's spinning it like a dreidel. Wrong holiday, W. He don't know his Jew holidays, but he seems to be very effective at it anyway. London group says Iraq lacks nuclear material for bomb, writes Warren Hodge in the New York Times. Saddam Hussein has substantial stockpiles of chemical and biological weapons and the capacity to expand production of them on short notice, but Iraq will be unable to build nuclear weapon for years unless it obtains radioactive material on the black market, a leading security affairs research organization said yesterday. The group, the International Institute for Strategic Studies, which is based in London, said that while there remained many doubts about the quantities and capabilities of Mr. Hussein's war materiel, there was no question that his government's priority was developing weapons of mass destruction. War, sanctions, and inspections have reversed and retarded but not eliminated Iraq's nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons and long-range missile capacity, nor removed Baghdad's enduring interest in developing these capabilities, John Chipman, the Institute director, said at a news conference. The retention of weapons of mass destruction capacities by Iraq is self-evidently the core objective of the regime, for it sacrificed all other domestic and foreign policy goals to this singular aim, Mr. Chipman said. Sooner or later, it seems the current Iraqi regime will eventually achieve its aims. And like George said to me before the show today, if we're going to go and invade every country in the world that's attempting to develop weapons of mass destruction, we're going to be invading just about everybody, if my mathematics is correct.
Right, we're going to be real busy.
Yeah, we're going to be awful busy. We've tried lots of means, sanctions, inspections, airstrikes, to force Iraq to cooperate with inspectors, and that hasn't happened, Gary Samore, the report's author, said. Mr. Chipman noted that both courses of action under discussion held risks. Wait and the threat will grow. Strike and the threat may be used, he said. I just mentioned that in passing, that story has been spun every which way the last couple of days. FBI warns of potential threats. Not that we want to get anybody nervous as we're approaching the anniversary of 9/11. In case you haven't noticed, tomorrow's the anniversary of 9/11. Fearful of new terror attacks but armed with little specific information, the government warned potential targets to be on high alert in the run-up to the September 11th anniversary. While George is doing that, he's high on alert. While officials say they have no details outlining an impending attack, they're taking no chances. The FBI told police, utilities, banks, and the transportation industry to be wary. U.S. military bases and diplomatic missions worldwide also are on a high security alert for the week. Are you being wary? White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer said yesterday the threat of new attacks remains a worry to U.S. officials. Anniversaries can be, not necessarily always, can be occasions for heightened terrorist activity, Fleischer said. Just given the fact that it's a one-year anniversary, we're going to be on our toes, he said. The State Department issued a worldwide caution last night urging Americans to remain especially vigilant this week. In the past few days, U.S. intelligence agencies have detected what officials now describe as a marked increase in terrorist chatter information from monitored communications and other sources that are used as a barometer of the likelihood of potential attacks. The FBI's National Infrastructure Protection Center, which assesses threats to key utilities and infrastructure, issued a general alert last week. The large volume of threats of undetermined reliability continues to be received and investigated by the FBI. Several of these threats make reference to the events of 9/11-2001 and to New York City and Washington, D.C. Other events mentioned on the website as warranting increased awareness include the September 10th through 20th UN General Assembly session in New York and the September 25th to 29th World Bank and International Monetary Fund meetings in Washington. The warnings are based on information from all U.S. intelligence sources, from telephone calls to interviews with detainees at the U.S. Navy base in Guantanamo, according to a senior law enforcement official. Are you on alert now?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Are you high on alert? You better get high on alert, mister, okay? Got the crap. Maybe that's what the governor's daughter was just trying to do again. Maybe she was on high alert.
Well, that'll perk you right up.
Bam. Emergency response training for massive attack remains weak, report says. This is by Siobhan McDonough, Associated Press. Probably akin to that Sean McDonough, because this is in the Boston Globe. That boring Sean McDonough does the Red Sox game. Oh, God, is he boring?
Yes.
Or what? Terminal. The emergency response system remains ill-prepared to deal with an attack on a U.S. city with a weapon of mass destruction, a report released yesterday concludes. The Federation of American Scientists study, released in conjunction with Wednesday's first anniversary of the attacks on New York and Washington, offers a dismal reading on the abilities of doctors, nurses, law enforcers, and others to respond effectively to a nuclear, biological, or chemical attack. Most people don't feel prepared, said Henry Kelly, the Federation's president and co-author of the 40-page study. There are smart people prepared in emergency procedures, he said, but their training is inadequate to handle larger-scale disasters. Having the equipment is one thing, but knowing what to do with it is another, Kelly said. The keys to emergency response, he said, are updated and coordinated training programs. The Federation surveyed police officers, firefighters, emergency medical technicians, and hospital workers, the frontline workers responding to an attack. Most indicated they felt unprepared to handle an attack with a weapon of mass destruction. The report said civilian and military medical personnel need to be trained quickly to respond to events involving weapons of mass destruction, then given access to refresher courses. It recommended development of a coordinated federal, state, local training plan. While 9/11 galvanized people into action and training programs exist, Kelly said much needs to be done to coordinate work by different agencies and to update training methods. Training should be integrated into medical schools, nursing schools, and other institutions that provide initial instruction, he said, and response training should be offered as continuing education and refresher courses. The study said federal planners are not taking advantage of new information technologies, many developed and deployed by the Defense Department, to train the more than 5 million emergency responders in the U.S. In other words, we're a little bit slow. There are a lot of programs out there, said Midge Morrow, a nurse who trains police on emergency responses. Everybody's doing some kind of training, but the matter is it standardized and cohesive? Without central guidance, responders are trained differently for similar situations, Morrow said. When you have so many different agencies trying to make an impact, we lose standardization. In other words, the right hand don't know what the left hand is doing, is what she's saying? And do we believe that?
Uh-huh.
Yes, we do. Well, it doesn't sound too promising, so let's just cross our fingers and legs and hope for the best. Al Jazeera, and boy, I tell you, CNN is really, I'm sure the other networks too, really pushing us and pumping us. I wouldn't be surprised before the end of tomorrow we see them doggy snuff tapes again. I'm telling you.
Just one more time.
Oh, the tape they had today over and over and over again. A tape purportedly of Osama bin Laden praises the 19 al-Qaeda hijackers for changing the face of history when they flew airliners into the World Trade Center and Pentagon last year. There aren't enough words to describe how great these men were and how great their deeds were, bin Laden said in an audio tape message played yesterday by the gutter-based Arabic-language TV news network Al Jazeera. It was not immediately clear when the tape was made, but it left no doubt that al-Qaeda was behind the terror attack, as if we had a doubt that killed more than 3,000 people. It's a little bit late to be having doubts now, wouldn't you think?
A little bit.
After we went over there and invaded Afghanistan and blew a lot of these people, blew their crap away. In the past, al-Qaeda has released tapes claiming responsibility for terror attacks, such as the October 2000 bombing of the USS Cole in Yemen months afterward. When you talk about the invasion of New York and Washington, you talk about the men who changed the faces of history and went against the traitors, bin Laden said on the tape. These great men have consolidated faith in the hearts of believers and undermined the plans of the Crusaders and their agents in the region. This reminds me of the doggy snuff tapes.
Yeah.
The same kind of naive approach to life. Oh, well, seeing this shows just how barbaric and shows the nature of these people, as if, killing 3,000 people and hoping to kill a hell of a lot more than that didn't indicate what we were dealing with, the kind of barbarism and the lunacy that they're guilty of, the kind of religious fanaticism which nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't like them before, but now we really hate them.
Yeah, now we really hate them. If you thought they were evildoers before, now they're really real evildoers, not just what we thought before.
Forget about it.
Right. Man accused, speaking of terrorists and evildoers, man accused of conspiring to set up terrorist training camp in Oregon pleads innocent. A man accused of trying to help al-Qaeda set up a terrorist training camp in Oregon pleaded innocent yesterday to conspiracy and weapons violation charges. James Ujama, 36, didn't speak during the brief court hearing except to say that he understood the charges. Remember that? Remember the Ujamas?
Yes.
Don't forget to put them on tonight, especially in the wintertime. Ujama was indicted August 29 by a federal grand jury in Seattle on charges of conspiracy to provide material support and resources for al-Qaeda's Osama bin Laden's terrorist network, and with using, carrying, possessing, and discharging firearms during a crime. The indictment contends that Ujama, a Muslim who was born James Thompson, led a conspiracy in 1999 to set up a training camp in Bly, Oregon. Magistrate John Weinberg set trial for November 4th and scheduled a detainment hearing for next Monday. Ujama remains in federal custody. Ujama was born in Denver, grew up in Seattle, where he worked as a community activist. He was arrested in Denver on a material witness warrant July 22nd. The conspiracy charge carries a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. The other, 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Attorney Peter Offenbacher said his client steadfastly has maintained his innocence. He refused to comment further. Ujama's mother, Peggy Thompson of Seattle, began crying when her son entered the courtroom Monday. I'm just glad to see him, she said. He's innocent, and I'm confident he'll be fine.
Oh, we're fine.
Exactly. 238 votes on our survey. And I understand that there are going to be a small handful of people out there going to oh, that Neil Rogers boy, he just always has to be different. Well, you're going to get all the coverage you could possibly want and then a million times more on 9/11 tomorrow. I mean, all week long we've had it. In fact, all year long we've had it. But it's building up to a gigantic, to a fever pitch, to a feeding frenzy, to a crescendo.
Let's see that
tomorrow.
live picture one more time of the crater.
Yeah, let's see, a few more people in tears. Let's see the crater again. Let's see the people jumping out of the buildings. Man, like I said yesterday, I'll say it again, TV does the best job of exploiting human misery and suffering and desensitizing the public to all of these things. Because after you see it for the 5 millionth time, I don't care how grotesque, how graphic it is, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It means nothing. You just keep seeing those images, and you're just kind of like frozen. It has no significance anymore. But anyway, so we're going to probably do something different tomorrow. Like maybe take the day off. Maybe we'll just have silence for 4 hours. How do you think?
A 4-hour moment of silence. I suggested that.
If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow 9/11, it will be better than rehashing last 9/11, 122, 51%, sensational 54, 22.5%, boring 28, 11.5%, in bad taste 17, disrespectful 13, and unpatriotic 6. 6 people said I'd be unpatriotic be doing that. And boy, the last thing I want to do is be unpatriotic, isn't it? I want to put my arm up in the air at a 45-degree angle and sing Deutschland über alles.
Comunista.
Want to do my Heinrich Himmler hop? 10:56 at 560 WQM. If you love your home but you just need more space, here's the answer for you that you've been looking for. Do what hundreds of other smart people are doing. Call Strictly Additions. Whether you're having a baby and need another room, if you're converting a carport or patio into living space, if you went into business for yourself and you want to make a home office, just call the great folks at Strictly Additions. They're your one-stop shop, more space for your place, with an absolutely worry-free approach to expanding your living space. No shows by the other contractors that let you down? Won't happen. Incomplete work? No way, Jose. No unexpected bills, no worries about the job not getting done right, and they take care of every detail. They'll draw up your blueprints, they get the building permits, handle all the inspections. Strictly Additions has got an easy 5-step approach to total customer satisfaction. Number 1, they call to schedule a free project evaluation appointment at your home, where a project estimator will determine the scope of your addition. Number 2, they schedule a bid appointment in their convenient showroom, where you'll get a detailed proposal and an exact price for your work. Number 3, select your finishing touches, go to contract. Number 4, review the design, architectural drawings. And then number 5, sit back and enjoy with a big smile on your face as your dream addition moves ahead on schedule with unbeatable quality. It's so easy, it's almost a piece of cake. Give Strictly Additions a call at 954-791-8100. That's 954-791-8100. They're licensed, they're insured professionals who do spectacular work for you. Just check out the red and the yellow pages. If you like, call 954-791-8100 and tell them that Neil told you to call Strictly Additions.
Live and local. This is Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Mandage, I f***ed them out.
All right.
Look at who that is. Everybody look at who that is. Lordy, Lordy, look at who that is. Daddy Willie T. Ribbs. He's a racing whiz. Race around in his car, that is.
Are you?
The race driver that never wins. Daddy Willie T. Ribbs.
Now see here, all you kids. They call me Mr. Ribbs. One day soon I'll win a race in my Rocket 88. Oh, well, hey, baby, you sure look fine today.
Mr. Ribbs, did you win the race?
Oh, well, I came in at 35th place.
Well, you earned yourself some ribs on the plate.
Forget that, honey. How's about a date?
Ain't gonna take that chance. Not if you keep coming in last.
Is that why you don't go out with me?
You ain't too slow. You can't compete.
Well, I may be slow on the street, but I sure be fast on my feet.
They call him Mr.
I'll tell you one thing, he ain't no Bill McBride, but he doesn't mean tap dance, said Willie T. Ribbs. It's 11:02 at 560 QAM. He ain't no Bill McBride, Democratic candidate for governor. I just mentioned that in passing. A couple of very distressing notices here on the fax machine. Laura says, like a good citizen, I went this morning to vote. First of all, my voting place didn't even open until 7:07 a.m. Once inside, a poll worker titled Deputy Sheriff advises us the computers are still being programmed and we'll have to form a line and wait. Why wasn't this all done before 7 a.m., she asks. The poll workers are all 100 years old. My last name starts with A.M. When I reach the poll worker, she tells me I'm in the wrong line. I need to go to the M line. I told her my last name was A.M. Then she starts looking for my name and finally says my name isn't on the list, even though I've been voting there for over 20 years. At 7:30 a.m., the poll worker was still looking for my name. The computers are still being programmed. The line's getting longer. I need to be at work by 8 a.m. Finally, in disgust, I took my driver's license and voter registration from the poll worker's hand, stated I'm getting the hell out of this place, and left very pissed off and fired up. As I was leaving, I told the deputy sheriff I was leaving without voting, and my first call when I got to my office would be the Miami Herald. The election department sucks. First of all, they need to hire workers that are under 150 years old and who speak English. How do you like that, huh?
Incredible.
Yeah. Boca. Somebody in Boca says.
That's Boca.
Oh, Boca Brian says. Somebody in Boca who sounds like Willie T. Ribbs. Just got back from my Palm Beach polling location. I'd be pleased to report the octogenarian poll workers showed up. Not octogenarian, oxygenarian. In other words, they're gasping for it. They're all over the edge of death. The new machines are fashioned after the Indian casino nickel slots. I chose the lotto game. Ballot data is entered on a swipe card, which probably works as well as the ones at the radio station. When I asked the poll workers how things were going, they said,
"Oh, we're fine."
Then one old guy's head hit the table like McCluskey in Godfather. They all agree on one thing. Teresa LePew smells like the back of Tito Puente Seafood Palace. Oh. Woo! Go out and vote today. Have a great time. It'll be a real experience, huh? Report, more than 180 employees at Florida Child Agency have criminal past.
Oi!
I'll tell you, your governor, man, has done such a great job heading that thing up. You know, the Jebster, the one who can't get anything straight in his own family. The one whose daughter, again, was in trouble over with her nose problem. I tell you, I think it would be safe to say, remember I was talking that day about taking it up the nose?
Right.
I think it would be safe to say that the Bush family has got that genetic problem. They all seem to take it up the nose, at least something.
Right.
Florida's Child Welfare Agency employs at least 183 people with criminal pasts, including felonies such as child molestation, child abuse, sex crimes, and drug dealing, according to a report. Among the Department of Children and Families employees with criminal records, 3 were punished for child abuse, 22 for grand theft, 7 for aggravated battery, 2 for DUI manslaughter, 3 for dealing drugs, 10 for aggravated assault with a weapon, and 9 for welfare fraud, the Herald reported on Sunday. One employee, the head of the agency's data security team in Tallahassee, is listed on the state's list of sexual predators for molesting a 5-year-old boy. DCF spokesman Tim Botcher said the agency doesn't consider the man a risk because he doesn't come into contact with clients. Oh, terrific. DCF officials said the agency was aware in most cases of the charges against the employees and conducted background checks to make sure their lives were on track and that DCF clients would not be in danger. But administrators acknowledged that in some cases the agency did not know about the criminal pasts. Botcher said the 183 employees with records should be considered in the context of the number of people the agency employs statewide, about 24,000. So that's not too bad. It's like us at QAM. We got, what, about 100 people running around in that building?
Mm-hmm.
And only about 90 scumbags. What's wrong with that? Oh, Elder Bush cites the terror blame game. Wait till you hear this.
Can't wait.
And keep in mind the Bush-Saudi Carlyle Group connection. Keep that in the back of your mind while I'm reading this. Former President Bush, this is Bush 1, said yesterday he thinks the CIA was too harshly criticized for failing to alert authorities in advance of the 9/11 terror attacks. I know that we predicted from time to time that there'd be insidious terror attacks, but I was surprised by the magnitude of it, Bush said on NBC's Today program yesterday. What I didn't like was the blame game that followed. The CIA should have known, the CIA should have predicted, the FBI failed us. He said, I get so irritated by these Monday morning quarterbacks who come rushing in with what should have happened. Oh, and speaking of quarterbacks, how about Tom Brady?
Oh!
And you know that line that Manders is always saying, did he tuck it or did he cock it?
Yeah.
You worry about the tuck part, Mad Dog. I'll worry about... You cannot predict accurately the intentions of evil people or good people, Bush said in an interview from his summer vacation home in Kennebunkport, Maine, underline the bunk part. You can measure where the forces are, but it's impossible to always know when something's going to happen. Yeah, it would have been nice to know in advance, but to be able to foil the plan, he said, that's not the way the real world works. If you want to call that, that's not the way how about all these other attacks that they foil in France and all over the goddamn world? But that's not the way the real world works, he says. How about the one that the Canadian customs agent up in the Northwest? Remember the guy that scumbag that was going to go to LAX and blow up the airport?
Shut up.
I see. But if you want to call that a failure, yeah, it's a failure to predict, but it's not the failure of our intelligence internationally or nationally per se, he said, whatever that means. Bush, the one-time director, of course, of the CIA, said he was glad that his son, President George W., kept George Tenet on as director of the CIA. It's not that the CIA is weak and no good, the elder Bush said. It's not that you need to recognize it. It's not that you need to put it all under some other roof. I have great confidence, not that you need to reorganize it. I have great confidence in the director of CIA, and he's going to find ways to improve things. But what I object to is a painting with such a broad brush that you destroy morale, Bush said. Speaking of the war against terrorism, he said, we're up against a different kind of enemy, and it's so hard to predict when and how it'll end. It's not going to end with a definitive judgment on whether Osama bin Laden is dead or alive, he said, but it will end when the terrorists realize they don't have the resources or the will to attack. Bush also said he was worried about here comes the good part, about the effect on U.S.-Saudi relations of the war against terrorism. What I don't like is demonizing Saudi Arabia, he said. It's not true. They are not enemies of ours. And to come under that kind of criticism, I think, is ridiculous, he said. And people in our position can't afford to be made to look ridiculous. How do you like that?
Forget about it.
Right. Asshole. Boy, I'm telling you, the Bush-Bin Laden-Carlyle Group connection. You think Congress is going to investigate that?
No.
Are we going to have a special Is Kenny a star going to conduct some heavy-duty investigations on that?
No.
Write a special report including the word penis and vagina every other word?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, did it have anything to do with penis and vagina?
Maybe. Because I'll tell you one thing, the public's getting screwed, especially at the gas pump. Francis Chirac lays out scenario that could lead to using force against Iraq. See how they're all, just like a bunch of dominoes. See how they're all toppling, they're all caving in?
Mm-hmm.
Except, of course, for Jean Chrétien, our own frog up here. Paris, French President Jacques Chirac has laid out a scenario for a 3-week deadline that could open the way to using force against Iraq, joining a growing list of leaders who say they could envisage military action against Baghdad with conditions attached. Spain and the Netherlands on Monday joined other anxious allies who, while not signing on to President Bush's conviction that military action is necessary, are not closing the door. Britain squarely backs Bush's view that Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein must be ousted by force, and Italy has also shown support. Germany has categorically rejected any military action, and Russia has said it opposes the use of force, and of course they're good buddies with Iraq. In an interview with the New York Times published yesterday, Chirac suggested a 2-step plan by which the UN might permit the use of force via a Security Council resolution giving Iraq a 3-week deadline, did I mention that before?
Yes.
To allow the return of UN weapons inspectors, a 3-week deadline, like sometime in early October, which would allow us to go in there like sometime in late October, sufficiently close to the November 5th elections to whip up everybody's pseudo-patriotism again, get everybody singing God Bless America, get Kate Smith back out of that wheelchair and out of her grave, and get everybody on the bandwagon on board. Right?
Right.
UN inspectors trying to determine whether Iraq possesses biological, chemical, or nuclear weapons left Iraq in 1998 and have been barred from returning since. And about the most poignant thing that they ever say on TV is, well, Paula. Yeah, he was on there again today, and he basically said that Scott Ritter was full of crap. But I would hasten to point out that this is the same Richard Butler who in the early days after 9/11, when he became a regular guest there on a CNN morning show with Paula, was saying that, they got rid of everything. By the time we left, we made sure they destroyed it. There's nothing left there.
Right.
He was singing that tune one day, and now he's singing a different tune. How do you like that? Pretty soon he's going to have his own. He's going to have Tom Kennedy on with him doing Name That Tune. And Willie T. Ribb's going to do Name That Coon. We got Jim Mandich at 1, Hank Goldberg for a cameo appearance today at 3 o'clock. Or what is it? Yeah. 3 to 4:30. I'll tell you, the Humper is, he must be jealous of my gig because he's working less and less and less and enjoying it more. Hank 3 to 4:30. And he can't help it. We got a Marlins game. I'm sure he's really broken up about that. We got a doubleheader. Marlins on deck at 4:30. The Marlins at the Phillies, a doubleheader 5:30 till midnight. Oh, God, hours and hours and hours. That should get some big numbers for us.
No.
Eddie K after baseball is over, and then Joe and Mark overnight. The Dirty Boys. And if you missed their material between 2 and 6, Mo will repeat some of it between 6 and 6:45 tomorrow morning. That's Mo Cheswick. 12 minutes after 11 at 560 WQAM on a great Tuesday. The sun is shining here. This is the last day of the excessive heat up here, by the way. I just mentioned that in passing.
Okay.
90s today. A little smoggy. It doesn't bother me, though, because tomorrow it's going to be, in fact, the rest of the week, look at that, 22, 22, 24, 72 and sunny tomorrow, 72 and sunny Thursday, 75 and sunny on Friday. So if you want to hear the Toronto weather forecast, just stay with us. Mattress shopping, let me tell you again, one last time, please.
Forget about it.
Because if you want to do it the old traditional way, by hopping in your car and running all over town, getting sweated up, wasting that expensive gas that the Saudis are using your money for God only knows what, here's the deal. Just sit there and use your phone. Just call 1-800-MATTRESS. 1-800-MATTRES. You'll be instantly, if not sooner, connected to an expert bedding consultant whose only job is to get you the best brand name mattress, not some schmuck in a department store who's selling lamps one day and sofas the next day, and then maybe once every now and then a mattress. And you got the best choice in the world because they got all the top brands at Dial a Mattress. like Serta and Sealy, Simmons and King Coil. Every time one of my mattresses is done, I pick up the phone, I call these folks, and they are there in no time at all. And you get to pick when they show up, between noon and 2, and 1 and 3, 2 and 4, any 2-hour window that's convenient for you when you're going to be home. And, of course, any day of the week, 7 days a week. Whoever heard of a deal like that? Only at Dial a Mattress, which also only are the ones that give you the 30-day in-home comfort guarantee so you can test your mattress the right way by sleeping and screwing your brains out on it. Pick up the phone and call them right now. You'll be sleeping with a big smile on your ugly puss as soon as tonight. Call 1-800-MATTRESS, 1-800-MATTRESS, or check them out on the web if you like at mattress.com.
Live and local. This is 560. The radio's all yours now. QAM.
Did he tuck it or did he cock it?
By the way, George, where's the rest of this story from USA Today by Judy Keene and Lawrence McMillan? I got page 1 of 3 pages. Where are pages 2 and 3?
I'll be a student. I play the tuba.
George is relieving
Be on the honor roll.
George is taking another crap? Well, in that case,
forget about
That ain't surprising. Cause in Florida, school ain't no problem at all. This be my tuba. This be my gun. But tubas don't make you dead. I killed my teacher. It was an accident. I bust the cap in his head. Yo.
by the way, this new tape on CNN, we discovered that Osama Yamama's a bad guy. How do you like that? Not that the media treats the public like we're all 3-year-old children, something like that. Jerry Falwell's second attempt to shut down parody website is misguided. Dismiss Falwell's lawsuit against Internet critic, Public Citizen tells Virginia court. A lawsuit Jerry Falwell filed in Virginia against an Internet critic should be dismissed because it was filed in the wrong state and has no merit. Public Citizen told a court yesterday. It's Falwell's second legal attempt to shut down the critic's website, which parodies Falwell in the statements about the responsibility of gays for the terrorist attacks of 9/11, among other things. The site at www.jerryfalwell.com pokes fun at Falwell's advocacy of biblical literalism and his penchant for giving advice. Another page purports to discover a biblical code showing that Falwell is a false prophet. After the site went up last year, Falwell's attorney sent the site's creator, Illinois resident Gary Cohen, a letter demanding that Cohen turn over the domain names to Falwell. Cohen refused. Falwell then filed a complaint against Cohen with the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO. WIPO. You ever hear of WIPO?
No.
And you did now. Alleging trademark violations.
I just did some.
Falwell never had registered his name. You were out there again, crapping again?
I'm not feeling so hot.
Why? What's the problem?
I don't know. It's just this thing that's been hanging on.
Now listen. Wait a minute. I hope the audience is listening carefully to this. Okay?
Oh, I know the timing's bad.
Timing is really bad. Tomorrow being 9/11. If anybody should be calling in sick tomorrow, the audience is going to say, what a wimp, hiding under the bed.
I'll be here.
Damn well better be there. The WIPO rejected Falwell's claims, so on June 20th, Falwell sued Cohen in the U.S. District Court's Western District of Virginia. He alleged trademark violations and libel. In a motion filed with the court yesterday, Public Citizen, which along with the ACLU of Virginia is representing Cohen, asked the court to dismiss the case for a variety of reasons. How do you like that, huh? See, I almost did that like loud cough. Now, you just refaxed me those 2 pages of that, but that's the wrong story.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know which one you wanted.
Putz. Timing of plot news fits Bush's agenda.
Oh, that's
backlash could occur. Public Citizen. What?
That's the only page I got.
That's the only page?
That's the only page. I know it says one of 2, but nevertheless.
Because I looked up on USA Today, and by the way, there's a story on USA Today, which is another one of the reasons I don't. Plus, all those colorful pages just blind me, blinded by the blight. I can't handle all those bright colors. But there's an article in there we must never forget. Now, I mean, that's like one step away from a Bin Laden was a bad man, and what he knew. They're doing it right now on CNN.
But I am told by very, very credible sources who are on the front lines there in the region that they believe that he is alive, that he is in the tribal areas of northwest Pakistan, which is not under the central authority control of the...
Well, let's go get the son of a bitch. What do you say? Before we start worrying about Saddam, let's go get that son of a bitch, okay? Just for old time's sake. We hit him with 5 shots, and he's still alive. Anyway, so there's a story in USA Today about, we must never forget. That's Nobody's going to forget. We don't have to go through a whole big solemn song and a dance and get all morbid and depressed, which, of course, is what they're hoping for, and everybody crapping in their pants, which is also what they're hoping for. That's not going to accomplish anything. Except, of course, once again, getting everybody to get out the flags and go through this whole pseudo-patriotism routine again, Deutschland über alles. The announcement Monday that U.S. officials had nabbed an alleged al-Qaeda terrorist who had planned to explode a radioactive dirty bomb in the USA meshed neatly with President Bush's agenda. Oh, that was the Jose Padilla thing.
Yeah.
It came for, so this is old. I'm looking forward here for the rest of it on the USA Today website, and of course I can't find it because this story is older than sawdust. But it says it came 4 days after Bush proposed a Homeland Security Department in his cabinet, and 10 days after he began describing the doctrine of preemptive military strikes against countries that threaten the U.S. It seemed to add impetus to his argument that Saddam Hussein must be ousted before Iraqis sell weapons of mass destruction to terrorists. But some people, especially some Democrats, wonder whether the arrest announcement dovetailed a little too tidily with Bush's agenda. Those questions were fueled by the fact that the announcement came a month after Abdullah al-Muhar's arrest May 8th and by reports that he had no radioactive material. Oh, this is a different one. This is before Jose Padilla.
Oh.
Didn't have nothing. Well, we've had a series of those, and John Ashcroft says this, and John Ashcroft says that, and it all turns out to be a bunch of crap, and you might as well...
Forget about it.
Right. Source, Rhode Island Church sex abuse deal. By the way, whoever's listening, don't fax me the other 2 pages. That's an old story. I thought it was like something new and exciting, and of course, it made sense to me, being with the election coming up. And, of course, we have an election going on today. If you go to your polling place, there's anybody who speaks English under the age of 100, maybe they'll help you vote. Is that a disgrace or what? As once again, Florida continue. I think we got a death wish. I think that the state of Florida, the people who live there, have this desperate attempt to continue showing their to the world. We got a bunch of mooners. Once upon a time, we used to have the Moonies. I think now we got the Mooners. Want to just bend over and show their ass to the world. Hey, I'm a Floridian. Look how dumb I can be. And, of course, the poll workers, most of whom are comatose. I know when I voted that last time in 2000, oh, brother, out there in the acres. We got some people under the age of 100 in the acres. It's not like an old farts place. They must have shipped them in from Sunrise Lakes. It's right up the road. An agreement has been reached to settle decade-old lawsuits that accuse Roman Catholic clergy of sexual abuse. A source close to the negotiations told the AP. In all, 38 lawsuits were filed in the early 1990s against the Diocese of Providence by men and women who accused 11 clergy of molesting them when they were children. The source, who spoke on the condition, of course, of anonymity, like everybody else in the world does, would not say if all 38 cases were affected by the settlement. A spokeswoman for the diocese would not confirm or deny that a settlement had been reached. A lawyer for the plaintiffs also, well, what's the point? Nobody wants to say nothing, declined to comment. However, Bishop Robert, well, they admitted to it. Okay. Great surgery death sparks debate. The death of a city, this is Detroit. The death of a city councilwoman after a weight reduction surgery has focused attention. Well, oh, you're going to get grossed out on this. Are you finished eating?
Yeah.
Good thing. Who brought food today?
Macaroni Grill.
Oh, I love Macaroni Grill. What did they bring?
I had some, chicken and bow tie pasta, with some sort of a cream sauce, and Chuck had veal parm.
All right. Love their veal parm. Let's see. Here's a fax from, you see who this is from? Why did you fax me a fax from Tim Potts?
Because
what? Because you want to waste a sheet of paper? Because I'm already crumbling it up now. Hey, Tim, go get in the car with Mommy and go out for a ride. Maybe you can pick up Barry Jackass and take him to work at the Hero. Maybe he'll share his brown paper bag of lunch with you. God, Tim Potts. It's enough to send me straight to the... Boy, you're just faxing up a storm here, aren't you?
Well,
no, I want to get back to this story here.
Please.
The death of a city councilwoman in Detroit after weight reduction surgery has focused attention on a newly available technique in which a noose is tightened around the stomach. You ready for that?
Okay.
Councilwoman Brenda Scott, who weighed more than 300 pounds, died September 2nd from an infection by a stomach perforation 3 days after surgery at Port Huron Hospital. The medical examiner ruled her death by accident. Oh, probably just a coincidence. Scott, 47, underwent a procedure called lap band adjustable gastric banding, which won approval from the FDA in June of 2001. The procedure has been done on nearly 90,000 people in other countries, mostly in Europe over the past 9 years. The procedure involves placing an adjustable silicone band around the upper part of the stomach, creating a small gastric pouch that limits food consumption and creates an earlier feeling of fullness. Like you want to puke, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Once in place, the device is inflated with saline, can be tightened or loosened. It's intended to remain in place permanently but can be removed if necessary. Surgeons use keyhole surgery to put it in place. Other surgical treatments for obesity, such as stomach stapling and gastric bypass, are more invasive. Just ask Josh Friedman. He'll tell you. The FDA has said lap banding is intended only for severely obese people, those who are at least 100 pounds overweight or twice their ideal body weight and have failed to lose weight by diet, exercise, and other means. Doug Trigg, spokesman for Inamed Corp in Santa Barbara, California, makers of the lap band device, said the death rate worldwide has been extremely low, about 5 thousandths of 1%. That's pretty low, you know.
Pretty low.
So, in fact, next time you see a fat boy on a pot in there with the door open because he can't get... No, seriously. Just get a few people to help you and go in there and, grab him and stick that gastric band around his pupik, okay?
I got a big fat rubber band over here.
That'll do. That sounds good. Or just snap it at him a little bit. By the way, Jerry Lewis is okay. That's what Larry King said last night. And the French are very delighted to hear that. 283 votes on our survey. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, it will be better than rehashing 9/11 from last year, 51%, 145. Sensational, 61. Boring, 35. In bad taste, 21. Disrespectful, 16. And unpatriotic, still only 6. Oh, God, thank God for that. 11:27 at 560 WQM, where the Mad Dog will be on at 1 o'clock. He'll be on it. When you shop for quality footwear, am I doing the right spot?
I don't know. Chuck says yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing Brandy shoes. Well, how does he know which shoe store I was going to do? Could have been a New Balance.
He's looking at the log.
Oh, I see. Well, how does he know I'm doing the right thing? Brandy shoes, that's what I'm doing. Good job there, Chuck. Chuck said, by the way, you're full of crap.
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
Brandy Shoes gives you the biggest selection to choose from. They have people who work there who really know your feet. They've been in the same location for a long time. It's a great shoe store. It's not just another shoe store. It's a mega store, and they've always got some special deals going on which enable you to save a ton of cash on your favorite shoes. And the top quality names in the world are waiting for you at Brandy's, including Rockports, SAS, Sperry's, Timberland, Naturalizer, and lots more. Brandy's is open every day of your life from 9 to 9, Sundays 10 till 5, and you'll find them at 1290 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. It's a final summer clearance closeout sale right now as I speak for a select group of famous brands at up to 73% savings only at Brandy's Shoes in Pompano Beach. And like I said, right now.
We're Sports Radio 560 QAM.
You get a lot of it. Sports! With Neil Rogers on Sports Hole Radio, WQAM. Oh! Down through the strip joint, fast and go. You stick $1 in the gutter of a tattooed hoe. He say, honey, got money for you. But when you take me back into the private room for a hand job, that man getting hand job. Take your clothes off, she insists. I'm gonna hose you down like a tuna fish. Taking up a big roll of his fat. And only by the smell can you tell where it's at. For a hand job.
Squirt, squirt.
Hand job. That man getting hand job. The girls used to handle them big fat guys. She know how to make the bald men cry. Fat man shakes with a shout and a howl. Would leave the skid mark on the towel. Hand job. Hand job. Hand job. That man getting hand job.
$11:33 at 560 WQM. I remember years ago when Hubert Humphrey died from cancer.
Yeah.
And he was undergoing chemo, and his hair had all fallen out, and he was like balder than even before.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a front cover issue, I think it was Time Magazine, and it said, "The Public Dying of Hubert Humphrey."
What?
The public dying of Hubert Humphrey. In other words, we were watching him like wither away and die.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
I get it.
And I'm thinking about Fat Boy right now, and of course, as much as we're hoping for him and praying desperately to all the gods, but I'm thinking to myself, the gods must be crazy because they're not doing nothing for him. Just like all those people that got incinerated a year ago tomorrow, they're not doing much for him either. And of course, the specter of him sitting in there on the can with his wheelchair off to one side in the handicapped zone, just, I don't know.
How's Fat Rich doing?
Actress Patty Duke was hospitalized after suffering a concussion and skull fracture early in the week when she tried to apply fly spray to a horse in her barn. Is that an incredible story or what? Duke, 55, who lives in northern Idaho with her husband, Michael Pierce, was listed in fair condition at the Kootenai Medical Center's intensive care unit in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You know that place.
It's pronounced Kootenai. Coeur d'Alene.
Kootenai?
Kootenai.
See, I knew that was right up your alley. All the
Northern Idaho, been there often.
I've driven through it fast. I drove through Wyoming even
Beautiful
faster
country.
because I thought Dick Cheney might be there. And they said, oh, no Dick in Wyoming. The prognosis is excellent, Pierce said. Sheriff's deputies quoted Pierce as saying that he left the barn while Duke was out about to apply the spray to a 2-year-old filly in one of the stalls, heard a thump, and his wife then cried out. When he got back inside the barn, Pierce told deputies he saw Duke on the floor of the stall. The horse was excited and nervous and startled but not attacking, Pierce was quoted as saying. Duke won Best Supporting Actress Oscar in 1963 for her role in The Miracle Worker, but obviously she needed one there and didn't show up.
Coeur d'Alene's a beautiful little town, by the way.
I'm happy to hear that, and I'll take your word for it. Speaking of people in hospitals and people getting the rubber bands around their pupik and their stomach stapled, study finds over 40 drug errors daily at hospitals. More than 40 potentially harmful drug errors daily were found on average in hospitals in a new study, yet another report on a worrisome problem regulators are working to remedy. Oh, yeah. The most common errors were giving hospitalized patients medication at the wrong times or not at all, researchers in the study of 36 hospitals and nursing homes in Colorado and Georgia be saying. Errors occurred in nearly 1 of 5 doses in a typical 300-bed hospital, which translates to about 2 errors per patient daily. You following that? 2 errors per patient daily. 7% of the errors were considered potentially harmful. The study, which didn't evaluate death or injury rates, is published in the September 9th Archives of Internal Medicine. It's based on data collected in 1999. The rates are similar to those in other reports on drug errors, but the new study highlights a specific point in the process of getting a drug to a patient, administering errors made by nurses or other hospital staffers after a doctor has properly prescribed a drug. Other studies focused on earlier steps, such as doctors prescribing the wrong drug or pharmacists incorrectly reading a doctor's messy handwriting. Haven't you always just marveled at that messy handwriting and you wonder, hey, I wonder if the pharmacist can read that. Well, maybe sometime not. It's a major problem, not a minor problem, and it doesn't lend itself to an easy solution, said researcher Kenneth Barker, an Auburn University professor of pharmacy care systems. Barker and his colleagues evaluated hospitals accredited by the Joint Commission on Accreditation of Healthcare Organizations, non-accredited hospitals and nursing facilities. Error rates were similar regardless of whether an institution was accredited or not. The researchers said their findings support implications in a highly publicized 1999 Institute of Medicine report suggesting that the nation's hospitals have major systems problems. The IOM report says that medical errors contribute to more than 1 million injuries and up to 98,000 deaths annually.
Oh!
Healthcare workers trained for a new study were sent on site and recorded errors during 81 days of observation. Potentially harmful errors included overdoses and instances when nurses failed to give patients prescribed medication. The study follows the Joint Commission's recent announcement of 6 safety standards it will require in January to reduce medical errors. The Hospital Regulatory Agency accredits most of the nation's 6,000 hospitals. The new standards include demanding better methods of preventing drug errors, and hospitals that don't measure up could risk losing accreditation and federal money. So in other words, if you're going to go in the hospital, at least wait till January or after, okay?
Okay.
Because it might be a little bit better then. Don't count on it, but it might. 303 votes on our survey on NeilRogers.com. We asked today if Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow 9/11 because we're trying to do something different on his show as opposed to being just another one of these repetitious, the same old stuff over and over again things tomorrow. Better than rehashing last 9/11, 157 people said that, almost 52%. Sensational, 62 people say that, 20.5%. Boring, 39, 12.8%. In bad taste, 22. Disrespectful, 17. And unpatriotic, still only 6.
Oh!
Let's hear it. That we still only got 6 of those. Of course, you know who those people are.
Yeah.
They're all dialing around trying to find Rush right now. And Bill O'Reilly and maybe the Life O'Reilly, too. How come I say stuff that only Bill O'Brien and I know what I'm talking about, you know?
Just for fun.
Yeah, keep him alive, by the way, so at least I got one guy out there who knows what the hell I'm talking about. 21 till noon at 560 WQM. But I'll tell you, this show is zooming along just like yesterday. Yesterday's show went by like, instead of 4 hours, 4 minutes.
Yep.
Tell Hank doing 4 hours ain't that bad. Maybe he'll try it sometime before the year is out. Huh? What do you think? Yeah, just one day, Humper. Now, listen, I admire that. Just like the Mad Dog said the day that I asked him, where were you yesterday? He said, effing off. And I thought that was a great answer. He was screwing up. F&A. That's what I said, F&A. I said, you cock it and I'll, or how is it, how'd that go? You tuck it. Colorado, I got to do the break. I'm getting out of that story now, and I got to do the break. See, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Dry Concepts are the best in the world at what they do. In every business, there's one outfit that do it better than everybody else, and that's why I've been using them in my home for over 20 years. A couple of months ago, while I was, I guess I was here, wasn't I?
Yeah.
When they came to the house, and they did a spectacular job. And when I got home, I looked around and I said, except for where Tiny had a field day in the corner over there, they did a magnificent job. You know what you like to do with a little dog like that when you've had Dry Concepts come in and they make it look, the whole house like brand new carpeting, when you have wall-to-wall in every room? And your little dog, as soon, like a day after they leave, he's in there making a mess.
Yeah.
You like to pick him up and take him right to the microwave and just hold him up in the air looking at it, you know? And then maybe open up the door a little bit, you know? Hey, Tiny, take a look in here, baby. It looks just your size. This was made for you, sweetheart. Anyway, Dry Concepts will do the same great job for you, and maybe you don't have a little dog. Maybe nobody in your house will crap on the floor. That'll be the good news. Dry Concepts will make your carpets look and smell fantastic, lemony fresh. They'll be dry in a couple of hours, and you'll be the happiest camper you won't believe. I guarantee you, if you've never used them, you won't believe what a sensational job they do. And they do the same great job of cleaning your furniture and drapery, of spot dyeing, fiber protection, carpet repairs, in-plant Oriental rug service for your valuable Oriental carpets, deodorization, and if you should ever have a flood, complete water damage restoration. Guess who's coming to my house today, by the way?
Rimmer?
Bug Steve.
Oh, excellent.
Bug Steve. And John said, boy, he sure is strange. Anyway, and they give you a written guaranteed price at Dry Concepts, too, before they start doing the job. In Broward County, call Dry Concepts at 954-370-7778. If you're thinking about calling anybody else,
forget about it.
In Broward, 954-370-7778. In Dade or Palm Beach, call them toll-free, 1-800-248-5071. That's 1-800-248-5071. Clean today, entertain tonight with Dry Concepts.
Live and local. This is Sports Radio 560 QAM.
WQAM, Miami. Tell me why do spooks have gold teeth? Does it help them to chomp on the food that they eat? What's that do when they chew? Oh, why do spooks have gold teeth?
Forget about it.
Tell me why some black guys have the shape of a star, golden cap, I'm confused. Oh, why do spooks have gold teeth? Why do spooks have gold teeth? Why do they show where their caps go? Do they rinse out their mouth with soap or brush? Show off their dental work as if we care. If I found out who their dentist was, I ain't going there. Oh, why, tell me why? Why don't spooks blow their nose? Hear them snort in the store as they walk past tissue. No tissue inhale too. Oh, why don't spooks blow their nose?
I'm actually impressed by the background vocals on that bit. It's 11:46 at 560 WQM. Now, this article from the Mirror that you faxed me, the 3 pages, do you still have that?
Yes.
Well, please refax.
Okay.
Pages 2 and 3.
Well, my page 3 is screwed up also.
No, I don't even have page 3.
All right.
I threw out I Schmidt can 2 and 3, and I got so much stuff in my little white sack back here, my trash bag. Because I like to be neat. So every break I reach down on the flow and I take all of the stories that I've crumpled up in the heap and I put them in my little white sack. Now, you don't think I got time here between now and 1 o'clock to go diddling through my little white sack, do you?
No.
Good. So like I said, refax what you got, and I'll...
On its way.
Not page 1, though. I got page 1.
Got it.
Colorado Ski Resort pulls edgy ads. Colorado ski industry has been pulling out the stops to lure young skiers and snowboarders now that aging baby boomers are battling bad knees. But one resort's edgy ads were dumped after some complained that they went over the edge. And one thing we learned on this show a long time ago, don't ever go over the edge.
Forget about it.
The Breckenridge Ski Resort used an offensive word for women to lure young customers in one print ad that begins, "The hill may dominate you." Another ad referred to courage by using a slang term for male anatomy. And, of course, in this story, which is by the Associated Press, God forbid that they should tell us what those words were.
That fucking bitch.
Something like that. Bitches! Under pressure from women's groups, community leaders, residents, and businesses, the resort has pulled the ad campaign. They pulled it. Breckenridge Mayor Sam Mamula said he called the resort's chief operating officer, Roger McCarthy, on Friday to tell him that guests were canceling reservations and residents and others were incensed. They were burning incense. Later in the day, McCarthy called him back to say the ad campaign was being pulled. The one segment was already in production and could not be stopped. Let me tell you right now about people that burn incense, druggies.
Or farters.
Or both. The marketing staff was trying to create an edgy ad campaign appealing to today's youth, McCarthy said. Some of the wording in the two ads in question crossed a line that should not have been crossed. As a result, the two ads have been pulled. He said, sometimes when companies make mistakes, the best thing to do is just admit the mistake and move on. Try to cover your ass. The ads were placed in publications including skateboarding, oh, that's my favorite, snowboarding, and Stance magazines. What the hell is Stance?
It's an industry magazine.
I see.
About that kind of stuff.
Ski and snowboarding-related ad campaigns have a history of being edgy. Absolute Vodka pulled a campaign after Vail Resorts, which owns Breckenridge, threatened to sue. It showed a bottle in the shape of a cast, suggesting a ski accident with the words Absolute Vail scrawled on it. What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
A Budget Car Rental stopped a campaign that showed a skier tangled in a tree. It offered free premium sunglasses to frequent customers, saying those who rent 4 times get to see menacing tree coming. That probably didn't bother him, but the little picture of Sonny Bonham in the corner, that was probably in poor taste. Okay, now pages 2 and 3, and you tell me page 3 is screwed up at the top. Well, that's okay. You forget. You just see that one line and you
forget about it.
Right. This is from the British, the Daily Mirror. It says Saddam Hussein is years away from developing his own nuclear weapons, an influential defense report revealed yesterday. The respected International Institute for Strategic Studies, which I had before here, that story from the New York Times, demolished claims by Tony Blair and President Bush that Iraq's weapons are a direct and imminent threat to America and Europe. The 75-page dossier Saddam could make a nuclear bomb within months if he got hold of weapons-grade material, but the experts insist that's highly unlikely, and Iraq's ability to produce and use weapons of mass destruction is weaker now than before the 1991 Gulf War. You realize that 2/3 of his military were eliminated?
Yes, I did.
The findings will embarrass Number 10. Mr. Blair was accused yesterday of masterminding an alarmist propaganda campaign to win support for the war in Iraq. That's Number 10 Downing Street, where the Prime Minister lives, for you dummies out there. Defense experts said the report published ahead of the premier's promised evidence on the threat from Saddam was nothing new. The London-based something or other said the dictator has only a small force of about a dozen missiles which cannot reach beyond his Middle East neighbors, the London-based IISS, the International Institute for Strategic Studies. He could develop a nuclear weapon in months if enriched uranium, a key component, was stolen or bought on the black market. But despite years of trying to acquire uranium, Iraq has failed. The report's authors said there have been reports of attempts, but none have been successful. I personally think it is a low possibility. Well, there you go. It goes on at length, but who cares about it? Because we already know that. It's a good dog and pony show, man. I'll tell you, you got to give him credit. He's doing a hell of a job with it. And then, of course, Thursday, just fortuitously planned the day after the anniversary of 9/11, Thursday there's going to be the speech at the UN. And they're going to hop on the bandwagon, and bada-beep, bada-boop, bada-ba, and they're all going to, cave in. You'll see.
Okay.
Vegas tribute to 9/11. Let's go to Vegas. What do you say?
All right.
I mean, if our good friend Lynn Samuels wants to go to Atlantic City, why don't we go to Vegas?
All right.
The words are written in white on a navy blue cotton T-shirt, bleached gray by the desert sun. But they're still visible to the thousands who walk past the New York Hotel Casino. All gave some gave all. The shirt is among hundreds that line the fence bordering the hotel's facade, a miniature harbor with a 150-foot replica of Lady Liberty and the New York City skyline forming a memorial that sprang up hours after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. People kind of related to the whole New York skyline theme. Las Vegas Fire Department spokesman Tim Zismansky said, someone just left a shirt there, and literally, there were now things from all over the world. The World Trade Center was never a part of the hotel's skyline, which is supposed to represent the Big Apple of the 1940s. With fire department patches, origami paper cranes, and the same spirit of remembrance, the impromptu tribute resembles those near Ground Zero. In the aftermath of the attacks, the same day, photographs, poems, candles started appearing in front of the fence, said Felix Rappaport, President and Chief Operating Officer for New York Hotel. You ever been in there? Did you go in?
No.
Good. It's okay.
Wasn't there when I was there last.
Oh, it wasn't there. They have a Schraft's in there. You ever go to Schraft?
Nope.
For like an ice cream, and probably have like real malteds in there too at Schraft.
Malted.
Mm-hmm. Very quickly, that expanded to a number of T-shirts, many of which came from fire companies. We now have T-shirts that represent fire departments from all over the country as kind of a symbol of solidarity, he said. Rappaport said the hotels receive more than 2,500 shirts and still gets dozens each week, either by mail or when people hang them on the fence. In some places, the shirts run more than a dozen layers deep. John Smithy, an emergency medical technician from the San Francisco Bay Area, walked along the fence videotaping while in Vegas, celebrating his one-year wedding anniversary with his wife, Vanessa. It makes you feel more appreciated. Oftentimes when we see people, they're not at their very best, and very seldom do we hear, thank you, he said. Tucked among the shirts is a child's crayon drawing showing the Twin Towers engulfed in red smoke, and stick people saying, ah! Across the top is written, thank you for trying to save all of the people. Stick people saying, ah! That's
okay.
4 A's and 6 H's. Ah! Like that. In fact, I never knew, until this day, I never knew how you spell, that must be what it is. Maybe Greg wrote it. Some notes and written pieces have been weathered to seemingly blank pieces of paper. The University of Nevada in Vegas has collected most of the written items to preserve them, Rappaport said. Though some messages have been lost, the sentiment is clear, said Jackie Maderick of Parsippany, New Jersey, who visited the memorial with her husband, Tony. Don't you love that name, Parsippany, New Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my very favorite names of towns. It makes me feel like the whole country's together, she said. We live 40 miles outside of New York, and to be across the country and see all of us, it really means a lot. The hotel began construction of a permanent memorial at the feet of Lady Liberty in October, scheduled to be finished by late December. They're not going to commercialize that, you think?
Let's not.
Shadow boxes encased in granite will contain some of the artifacts left by visitors. Other items will be archived and stored in UNLV Special Collections Department. People have laid in our lap the responsibility of caring for this stuff, and we're honored, Rappaport said. It's a very, very heartfelt memorial. See, it's not commercial, so quit being such a skeptic, okay? One thing about you. 327 votes in our survey. The votes are sliding in. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow for all 4 hours on 9/11, it will be better than rehashing last 9/11, 170, 52%. Sensational, 64, almost 20%. Boring, 44, 13.5%. In bad taste, 25. Disrespectful, 18. And unpatriotic, still only 6.
All right.
How do you like that? Only 6 assholes out there who want to lay a guilt trip on me. Oh, you're unpatriotic, man. You're a commie, pinko, Canadian, Dutch douchebag. Okay. So what's your point? You know something? Can I give you one point?
All right.
You know how much I like Tom Lehman and what a good guy he is and how he loves this show? His ad agency blows, okay? Because, first of all, they make up the copy. They change. They do like Todd Dreck. They change 2 or 3 words, and then they give it to Bob Eisenberg. Now, do you think he's going to rewrite it? Do you think he's going to do anything creative, anything interesting, anything to make like a...
No.
I'm telling you, man, we got a crisis in copy at QAM. A crisis in copy, Screw-Ann, you idiotic bitch, you slut, you piece of turd. We have a crisis of copy. It's getting so stale, it's like last decade's Halava, man. It's like pizza that was left in goddamn WW2 in Japan somewhere that got nuked. You think they eat pizza? You think they were eating pizza in Japan back then?
No.
No? How do you know? Maybe they have
I
like
don't
pizza.
know.
Well, something to think about. Maybe something to investigate. Maybe Robert Stack knows, huh?
I'll be right
Let's check
back.
it out. Maybe he's got one under that goddamn top coat he wears all the time. That trench coat. And you know what they say about guys who wear trench coats?
What do they say?
11:56 at 560 WQAM. Tom Lehman may be waiting for you in a trench coat, although the weather will have to cool off a little bit, down at Hallett Pontiac GMC, and they're absolutely at it again. They're doing it. They are doing it. They're not writing new copy, but they're doing it. 0% financing continues. They change like about 4 or 5 words, and that's it, because their agency blows. With approved credit from GMAC, you can get 0% financing up to 36 months on all 2003 Pontiac and GMC models, or take you a rebate of up to $4,000 on all 2002 Pontiacs or GMC models in stock. I think that's their way of trying to tell us that the 2003s are in stock now, which is pretty damn exciting, I would say. In fact, I'm pretty anxious to see the 2003 Corvettes, which they don't sell at Hallett, by the way. Check out the complete line of GMC SUVs, including the Envoy, voted by Motor Trend as SUV of the Year, which I'm sure you already know. Plus, take a peek at the all-new Pontiac Vibe SUV, a beauty that's got the power of a magnificent sports car. Hallett's also has always got a dependable selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and sport utility vehicles that you can depend on. And as far as credit is concerned, even if you're like Shady, even if you used to work in radio, even if you used to work with that guy from that broadcasting school, no problem, they'll make you a deal at Hallett. So for a great deal, an unbeatable deal on Pontiacs and GMCs, see Hallett in their same great location they've been doing people for 35 years. 13401 South Dixie Highway. That's US 1 across from the Falls. Open every single day of your life, 7 days a week. For more information, call Tom Lehman at 305-238-4040. And when you call him, tell him, hey, you know, Bob Eisenberg is a piece of turd. 305-238-4040. Hallett Pontiac GMC. They do be professional grade.
Live and local. We're Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Howard David. When I take my Feldine, I listen to the Neil Rogers 12 to 1 hour. Not George, because he's stupid.
Carmela and Tony, back on my TV. Holy macaroni, I can't wait to see what happens with Melfi and her drinking thing. The girls all look healthy at the bottom big. How I miss Big Pussy. Last year he went splash. And Janice the Banshee comes back for more cash. Last year Richie got caught up. We hated his guts. Christopher made him shut up with Paulie Walnuts. So everyone's steady, 'cause anything goes.
Forget about it.
My friends all get ready for the Sopranos.
1202 at 560 WQM. It's our big noon to 1 hour. Jim Anders coming up at 1 o'clock. Hank, briefly, a cameo appearance at 3. So you're going to be pleased with this story. Odds improve for a Sopranos movie.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh. Don't bet the clubhouse yet, it says, but odds are looking better and better that The Sopranos will hit the big screen after its TV run. I think there's a real good possibility we'll do it, said Brad Gray, executive producer of HBO's smash mob drama. We're having real serious conversations. I think we're getting close. Gray and about 2,000 of his closest friends crammed into Rockefeller Plaza recently to celebrate the long-awaited launch of the show's 4th season, which is scheduled for Sunday. Did you know that?
Are you kidding? It's on the calendar.
Well, that means Smallville ought to be starting pretty soon, too, shouldn't it?
I guess.
Like maybe next Tuesday. I would certainly think so. Before the bash, the group, which included James Gandolfini and most of the cast, screened the first 2 episodes at Radio City Music Hall. HBO chief Chris Albrecht led the raucous pep rally. Since the first season, we've been approached by pretty much every major studio, Gray says. Warner Brothers will get first dibs because it's all in the family. That is, AOL Time Warner owns HBO.
Oh!
Creatively, there's a way to continue these characters and have them grow in a new form, Gray says, adding that he and the series creator, David Chase, just met to talk it through. Production on the movie wouldn't begin until after the 5th and final season, Gray says. Shooting for those episodes is slated to start in February, and a debut is scheduled for next September. The movie could expand into a franchise a la Star Trek, Gray acknowledges, but first, he says, we want to make sure it has the same care and quality we give to the series, and that it feels right to take it to this new form. And the guy still has the same bad hairpiece. I saw, like I told you, my movie channels here, which are the equivalent of HBO, it's been on every night, I guess, building up to the new season.
Stop doing that. You're not going to get anything out of it watching it in the middle of the 4th season for 7 minutes at a time.
How about 2 minutes?
No.
How about 10 seconds?
Start at the first episode.
Oh, wait a minute.
Homeland Security. Probably what they're going to advise all Americans to do is to keep their eyes open, to be even more vigilant than they have been to the possibility
Level is
of
going
terrorism,
from yellow to orange.
to report anything they see that might be
Jiminy.
suspicious to their local authorities. Apart from that, Kira, because I don't know yet what the nature of the threat is that they're responding to, I can't tell you about any additional precautions that might be recommended for the average American. Certainly, it's going to mean that law enforcement agencies across the nation and perhaps across the world are going to have to step up their efforts and their staffing.
Yellow to orange. Keep your eyes open. Keep it peeled.
Forget about it.
Every goddamn day the news is warning we have a yellow light.
Orange light.
They have something to hide. That's how they manipulate headlines. What's really any kind of subterfuge is useful, like a yellow light. Designed by the corporate media right, and that's why we have a yellow light. Can't explain the meaning of what these lights do. So Congress sits at his desk with a set of low pens and doodle cartoons. And anytime they want to confuse the news, they have a yellow light. That means something they can't abide. That's why we have a yellow light. A big light every goddamn day. The news morning we have a yellow light. That means something they can't abide. That's why we have a yellow light. A big light every goddamn day.
Okay, Governor Tom Ridgid, he'd be saying we're upgrading from yellow to orange now because you need to keep your eye peeled. Keep your eye on it.
Right.
Okay? Does that tell us anything?
No.
Do we know any more than we did before?
No.
Is there anything specific?
No.
Even like general?
No.
Just orange alert. This is also right up your alley. Not only Sopranos story, I saved the George stuff for this hour.
Thank you.
Robert Blake's a changed man, but Beretta brags he'll be shooting again on TV, that is. Jail may have made Robert Blake unrecognizable. Now, let's see. This is on page something in the Globe. Oh, page right on the inside front page, page 2. Right after you see Rosie all gussied up as a guy. Oh, and look at that. I didn't even notice that. She's wearing plaid pants, which are similar to the shorts that Mo wears, Mo Cheswick on the golf course. Only she has much smaller varicose veins. You think she's got a small vein? Jail may have made Robert Blake unrecognizable, but it hasn't curbed the accused wife killer's cocky attitude. See how this all ties in together? The pint-sized Beretta star is boasting he'll beat the murder rap and make a glittering career comeback. And there's that picture of him. You know who he looks like? I swear to you got to get the Globe. He looks like Todd Dreck. He looks like Todd Dreck.
Oh, no. Come on.
Yeah. All shriveled up, about 2 feet tall, and with white hair. He looks just like Todd Dreck. I tell you this, I will act again, Blake said, who turned 69 September 18th, vowed to talk show host Larry King from his L.A. sales. What is it? Oh, he'll be 69 September 18th. I'm sorry. You could use a little punctuation in these stories, by the way, you idiots at the Globe. And he says his 2-year-old daughter Rosie will be there to cheer him on. See, and Rosie's on the front page, not the same one. Blake is charged with shooting Rosie's mom, Bonnie Lee Bakley, in the head while she sat in a parked car May 2001. Rosie will be on a sound stage watching, Blake insists. Everything is about Rosie. His friends add that one of the first things he'll do when he's released is go to a firing range and shoot guns from his vast collection. That's what he says.
What would you do?
While Blake talked big to King, the 5'4" actor looked like a shadow of his former pugnacious self when he appeared gaunt and white-haired in an L.A. court August 28th, where he won a continuance for his trial. On November 13, prosecutors will be trying to prove that he murdered the 44-year-old Bakley. George is going to be there to testify on Robert's behalf, by the way.
Character witness, right.
Yeah, so the bitch had it coming. Globe reported July 9th that Blake had become a ranting, sobbing wreck behind bars in the men's central jail in L.A., where he was denied the right to dye his white hair to its trademark jet black. But Blake was full of bravado when he bragged to King that his months behind bars were a piece of cake. These are the worst places to be in he says, there are worse places to be in than jail. He said, I've been on worse locations and in worse dressing rooms. This cement wilderness is just a passing phase. The actor's friends say Blake is convinced he'll be acquitted. Robert has got complete confidence in his lawyers and knows that they can persuade a jury to find him innocent, confides a pal. He's always saying, you'll see, I'll get off. There's no way in hell that Beretta will be convicted of murder. In his mind, it's only a matter of time before he's out of jail, playing with Rosie and shooting guns from his prized collection. Oh, and we got a Michael Jackson story here, too.
All right.
Wouldn't want to disappoint. Too bad, Dad. Jacko plays Scrooge as Dad's kicked out of his home. Michael Jackson's down-and-out dad was booted from his home after the gloved one refused to give him a cent to avoid foreclosure. Bad business deals left Joe Jackson on the brink of ruin and facing foreclosure on his house. But his kids, still resentful of his tough parenting, didn't do a thing, didn't lift a finger, much less a gloved hand, to help. That guy can live on the street for all I care, Michael huffed to a family friend. He was huffing and puffing. There's a picture here, like on an angle, from like below Michael Jackson's puss.
Okay.
And
Skeletor?
You know that nose?
Yeah.
I mean,
for lack of a better word.
Oh, what is it? Anyway, in the months leading up to the foreclosure, multimillionaire Michael stood by as a 73-year-old father lived in a nearly empty Las Vegas house. Do something, Michael, for your father, come on.
No, he was a bastard.
Said the family friend, there's absolutely no love between Michael and his dad. And at one point, when he was hit up by a family member for money for his dad's Vegas house, Michael huffed, "You've got to be kidding." How do you like that? And, of course, you know that high, squeaky voice that he's got?
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah, he probably said...
Oh, Jesus, are you f***ing kidding me?
Yeah. Ironically, Joseph launched the Jackson 5 in Michael's career, but he ran the family like a boot camp. In fact, if only Sally Jesse would have been around back then, her show would still be on the air. That would have been her most famous boot camp. When the Jacksons were growing up in Indiana, Joseph worked 3 jobs so he could afford singing lessons and costume instruments for his kids, said an insider. But now that he needs to borrow money, his own son turned his back on him. Well, he's turned his back on a lot of people. Explained the family friend, things haven't been good between Joe and Michael for years. Ever since the beginning, Joe has been a taskmaster with his children. He even insists they call him Joseph instead of Dad. Professionally, Joe's hard tactics worked, but personally, Joe alienated his chillins. And as soon as they were old enough, one by one, they all fired him as their manager. Kind of like the Beach Boys. Remember that?
Yes.
His financial condition deteriorated and business deals dissolved into lawsuits. Although Michael had been in Las Vegas several times in recent weeks, he never once visited or called his father, according to the insider. He knew his father was losing the house. He knew how desperate he was, but he never even made the slightest attempt to help. Joseph had lived on and off in his cherished Vegas getaway for years, while his wife, Catherine, spends much of her time at their family estate in Encino, California. Fortunately, Catherine came to Joseph's rescue, but about the same time his daughter Janet delivered a hard kick to the old man's already battered ego, divulged another family source. Joseph recently moved to another place in Vegas that his wife is now leasing for him. The money for the new place comes straight from Catherine, not Michael. Meanwhile, Catherine is telling friends that Janet just bought her place in Vegas under one condition, that Joseph could not live there. Joseph is paying the price late in life for all the bitterness his kids feel toward him. It's sad to see. You'd think that after all these years the bitterness would fade away, but it just seems to have gotten stronger. There's nothing worse than having a bad relationship with your father.
Or mother.
Or mother. Or both.
Wonder if Mom's listening to that story.
344 votes on the poll. They're starting to mount up there, man. They're mounting it. If Neil plays comedy bits all day tomorrow on 9/11, it would be better than rehashing last 9/11, 174, sensational 71, boring 45, in bad taste 27, disrespectful 18, and unpatriotic we're now up to 9. Thank goodness we goosed that up a little bit. Nothing like a good goose. Have you heard the news about the 3.95% mortgage? I guarantee you that you have. Have you heard it?
Uh-huh.
Sure. And if you've been thinking about it, quit thinking and start doing something that'll save you a lot of cash, because now's the smart time to purchase a home or refinance your existing home at the unbelievably low rate of only 3.95%. If you have a 7.5% mortgage, that 3.95% rate would save you over 3.5% or over $3,500 just the first year alone on a $100,000 mortgage. Don't make things hard. Pick up the phone and call Financial Group toll-free at 1-800-940-LEND. That's 1-800-940-5363. Getting you a mortgage someplace else will cost you thousands and thousands and zillions of dollars extra each year. So just think all the money you can save when you have a 3.95% mortgage. Financial Groups help thousands of people just like you, so do the smart thing and put your financing in the best possible position by getting yourself a 3.95% mortgage. Call Financial Group today and tell them that Todd Dreck. Let me say it again, Scran. We got a copy crisis at QAM. A copy crisis. Yellow alert, orange alert, purple alert. Call Financial Group today, toll free at 1-800-940-5363. That's 1-800-940-5363. They're an equal housing lender. Credit restrictions do apply, and rates are subject to change if you wait too long.
Live and local. This is Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Baby, come play with these titties.
Okay.
Wear a thong, low-cut jeans that won't stay on. The hair is blonde. Shake my butt and I turn guys on.
Rectum.
But there's a place where all
I work for. Being such a bad girl, yeah, I can make and grow with my body and booty. That's where their blood flows, 'cause I'm such a cutie. It's one of the things I work for being such a bad girl, for being such a bad girl.
Don't forget, yellow alert has been increased now. There's Ari Fleischer on there. Bada-beep, bada-boop, bada-bop, bada. Yeah, Jacobo Goldstein from Univision Spanish language radio. I'm not even making that up. Did you see that?
No.
He was asking one of the questions. Jacobo Goldstein. He said,
Oi!
Increíble.
something like that. There he is.
Oh, there he is.
CNN
Jacobo.
Radio.
State Department, you need
Is that how you say it?
I
Jacobo?
don't know.
No. Jacob, man. Jacobo.
Of course.
correspondence. I can just
Jacobo.
Jacobo. Phone calls and
Get out of there, Ira. Whatever your name, Ira. Oh, by the way, did I mention that Steve the Bugman's at my house today?
You did. Well, you said that he called, and that he was coming over.
I said, guess who's going to be at my house today? I said, Steve the Bugman. I'm just mentioning it again because he wants a nice plug. And he deserves it. Did a nice job with the ants. How's your termites doing? Still dead?
All gone. Still dead. No
Good.
more little pellets.
George's
anywhere.
termites are still dead. My ants are deader than a doornail. And it's all thanks to Steve from, what is it, ATM?
Alternative Termite Management.
Good guy. They do a good job. They don't come and see. He made a good point to me. And that is when you spray in one isolated area, all you're doing is killing whatever happens to be there at the moment.
Right. They make up for it.
And then they go back and they multiply like 1,000 times more. And then with vengeance they come back.
Right.
But he puts down that stuff, that mung, in little tiny pieces of straw. Of course, when he went to George's house, he made sure he cut the straw up into very tiny pieces because he was afraid of what George might use the straw for. Anyway, remember Kelly Clarkson? We were talking about at the beginning of the show about she's going to be singing the national anthem or God Bless America or all of these things.
Yeah.
Well, I should have had this story back then because this is very important news. It sure is a lot more important than invading Iraq or all of these ceremonies and songs and this whole song and the dance they're putting on because they want to whip everybody up into a feeding frenzy again. Are they or aren't they in the Herald? This was Saturday. Isn't it inevitable, really, it asks? On Friday's Today Show, American Idol champ Kelly Clarkson accidentally remarked that her relationship with runner-up Justin Guarini may not be strictly platonic, reports TV Guide Online. Mm-hmm. When a fan asked Clarkson if she was dating Guarini, she replied, "We're just friends, nothing like that, yet." Yet.
Uh-huh.
After realizing what she implied, the Texas beauty who was seated next to Guarini blushed and retracted the comment. I didn't mean that. Meanwhile, Clarkson's victory song, A Moment Like This, will be arriving in music stores September 17th and is all but guaranteed to be a hit. Oh. Yeah,
right, it'll be a hit.
You don't know Shakira, I'll tell you that.
Every bit as big as Kelly Osbourne.
Probably. Or Kelly Craig. No, nobody's that big. Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly, I didn't mean that. We like Kelly Craig. She's just big, She just, she couldn't get off that bicycle pump. She fell on it one day and it just... Anyway, Kelly Clarkson, who's, marginal looking at best, and Justin Guarini, which I called him cute one day, I want to retract that. Just like she retracted her comment. He's about as cute as a pile of excrement. He's gross.
He's gross.
He's got the Willie Ames here. From the scalp up, he looks just like Willie Ames. From the scalp down, I would say...
Forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got bigger fish to fry than that. We got Tom Welling coming back on a new season on Smallville. You realize it's only the second season of that show?
Right.
Well, the reason I say that is because I haven't missed, like, a whole bunch of stuff from previous years, because I just discovered that show by accident last year. And the good news on that is that also, that show is another one that's on almost every day somewhere on the cable when you have digital cable every night. Reruns. It's amazing. Like Sopranos.
Maybe this season he'll finally take off.
You mean he'll fly?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't think Tom Welling floats, but, you think everybody floats.
I thought
Video
that was
game... Well, I beg your pardon?
Huh?
Video game dispute leads to teen bludgeoning, so you better watch it, mister, with those kind of comments. By the way, be sure and vote no today on Prop 14 in Dade County. Punch 243 in spite of the propaganda George was puking out before. George said it was from a fax that came in, but of course he went in the other room and faxed it in. 243, punch no. Vote no. On Anita the Orange Juice Queen and about the... I'll tell you, they are mestos, man, between the two of them. They are something. They need to be in a rubber room. And also be sure and vote for, what's his name? The tap dancer, Bill McBride. Great guy. A wonderful American, a Vietnam vet, a guy that's never stole a freight train, a guy that earned his own living, worked his way up in the business world, and is a good, decent guy, as opposed to somebody born with a silver spoon in his
Rectum?
Ass. Or somebody that couldn't win a goddamn rigged election even in Florida, which is Janet. We like Janet, like I said. He's a really good guy, but no chance. No way, Janet. You're out. A 16-year-old boy was in police custody Saturday, accused of bludgeoning another student with a hammer during a dispute over a video game controller, authorities said. This is in Warrensville Heights, Ohio.
What kind of video game?
The attack occurred at Warrensville Heights High School. Maybe we'll get to that.
Okay.
The victim, also 16, suffered a fractured skull and was taken to Hillcrest Hospital. The hospital on Saturday wouldn't release the condition of the boy who's in 9th grade. His accused attacker, an 11th grader, could be charged with felony assault. Fawcett said the 11th grader told him last Wednesday the 9th grader threatened to beat him until he stopped breathing if he didn't bring in money to replace a lost video game controller that had belonged to the 9th grader. Unfortunately, in the story, it doesn't tell you what video game.
Oh.
Last Thursday, the 11th grader took the hammer, walked up behind the 9th grader, hit him twice on the right side of the head. Witnesses told police that the 9th grader fell, and his attacker swung the hammer twice more and kicked at his head. A security guard then restrained the 11th grader. School Superintendent Gwendolyn Koch said she would recommend the 11th grader's immediate expulsion. No Schmidt, honey. No Schmidt. Here's some promising news for all you dog lovers out there. Pet food developed to relieve dog arthritis. Nothing for my bursitis, which is getting better very slow. I guess it takes weeks and weeks, huh?
I don't know.
Well, what do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. I don't know anything about bursitis.
Why not?
I don't have it yet.
You will. Something to look forward to, because the Lord works in mysterious ways. It's getting better, day by day, but very slow. It's just like that ache in your elbow and kind of like it's I know what it is. Anyway, Leicester, England, veterinarians have harnessed the power of New Zealand green lip mussels. Don't you love those New Zealand green lip mussels? Almost as good as spotted dick. To produce a dog food that helps to relieve arthritis pain suffered by aging canines around the globe. As many as a fifth of the 4.8 million dogs in Britain alone experience the painful inflammation of the joints, which is especially prevalent in large breeds and older dogs. Yeah, my golden retriever had that. He's not feeling it now, though. But veterinarians and scientists at Waltham, the pet care side of U.S. candy and food maker Mars, Inc., said on Monday they had produced a food using New Zealand green lip mussels to ease the suffering of man's best friend. It includes an extract from flesh of the mussels that's been processed in a special way. It's been used for several years to alleviate the pain of arthritis in humans. Well, where the hell is it? I've heard that, green lip mussels. Haven't you heard about that?
No.
No, you haven't. We know that over 50% of dogs over the age of 8 start to develop arthritis in various joints. It's usually their hips, their knees, and their elbows, said Dr. Carol Hurley, who represented her research, Carol it is, to a British Science Conference, Carol with a K. The veterinarian at Waltham's Research Center in Leicestershire, I was talking about this the other day, and I still couldn't pronounce it, said that until now treatments consisted of daily anti-inflammatory drugs. However, there's evidence to suggest the use of these drugs may have adverse and distressing side effects, including irritation, anorexia, vomiting, and ulcers, she told the British Association for the Advancement of Science Conference. In a U.S. trial, 4 out of 5 canines given a supplement of the extract in the dog food showed an improvement in arthritic symptoms after just 6 weeks. How do you like that?
Fine.
The dog food, which can be used as a supplement or fed to dogs for life, will be available throughout veterinarians in Europe, Australia, Japan, and the good news is the U.S. Where very rarely is the good stuff around. Usually the crap is around in the U.S. But in this particular case, the good stuff for your dog. So you'll be like old and crippled and like hunched and, wobbling around, and your dog will feel great.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Makes you feel bad for what?
Better, I said.
Oh, better. 1227 at 560 WQAM. We're just, inching our way up to the Mad Dog here at 1 o'clock. Now that football season's on again. All those people that were doubting the Patriots, by the way, and Tommy Brady, shame on you, huh? What a performance last night. Overwhelming. And that Cordell Stewart, he quarterbacks like Dan Stewart.
Oh, we're fine.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more in common, too. Hey, guys, you've heard me talk about becoming a high-paid computer professional and about the big number of high-paying jobs that are out there waiting for you in the real world. The question is, how do you find a good school that'll help you get into one and do it? Well, there's only one school that's got 4 convenient locations in Dayton, Broward. There's one school that's got certified Microsoft instructors, convenient day and evening and weekend classes when it's convenient for you. There's only one school that's got full-time placement department with over 30 years experience, so they really know their crap. With this school, you can complete your program, get certified in just 4 short months. It's real, honest-to-goodness, hands-on training, and that school, of course, is Fast Train. Be sure and have a chat with Todd Dreck about it. I guarantee you he'll tell you to do it. You've heard us talk about our friends at Fast Train, so get off your butt, pick up that phone and call. There's no obligation, and they'll tell you exactly how to get started on the road to a serious career. Call toll-free 1-866-FAST-TRAIN. That's 1-866-FAST-TRAIN, or check them out on the web if you like at fasttrain.com. Did I mention we have a copy crisis at QAM?
Live and local. This is Sports Radio 560. QAM.
I hate you.
Tonight on it's the Anna Nicole Show. America's favorite slump meat trash, whose only claim to fame was that she blew a rich guy. Anna Nicole, the no-talent, fat, gooey, pasty, but famous celebrity.
You mean her here?
Watch tonight as Bob Vila applies her makeup.
All right, if you sit perfectly still, you shouldn't feel a thing when I use his power roller.
She doesn't look good. She can't act. She can't talk. She can't think. Say, she could run for president. The Anna Nicole Show, tonight on
It's 12:32 at 560 WQAM. Here's a story about guess who?
Who? Anna Nicole?
In the Inquirer. Hot new book reveals the wilder side of Anna Nicole. It says, and you thought she was outrageous on TV. Her appetite for sex and drugs and food, wild nights with lesbian strippers, and how she cheated on her sugar daddy, which we'll get to in a second, but of course first, more important. The U.S. Homeland Security Office is raising its nationwide state of alert for the first time since March, putting it at the orange level, signifying a high risk of terror attack, sources said. No specific threat has been disclosed. The action is being taken on the eve of the first anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks that killed more than 3,000 people. And the rumor has it that they've traced the chatter that they ran back to Al-Qaeda. And it deals with the U.S. Attacks on U.S. interests overseas. But they point out that last year they were intercepting the same things. And then, of course, look what happened. Not that we want to get people panicky, but just keep your eyes open, okay? Your eyes, your ears. The country's been on yellow alert, which indicates a significant risk of terrorist attacks. U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft will make a formal announcement later today. As a matter of fact, CNN is promoting 1:15. They're going to have like the formal song and a dance. So that's probably him, Heinrich Himmler Jr. The warning system has 5 levels, starting with green, the lowest alert, followed by blue, yellow, orange, and red. The latter is the highest alert level, indicating a severe threat. Each code triggers specific actions by federal agencies and state and local governments. A congressional source said that some staffers on Capitol Hill received a briefing yesterday telling them that the nation's threat level will be raised. And it has from yellow to orange. Orange alert, okay? You got it? Orange alert!
Got it.
Okay. Make sure everybody in the building knows. Including Fat Boy. Put a little orange tag on his wheelchair. Anna Nicole Smith's outrageous reality TV show has shocked America, but off camera she's even more depraved, reveals a book about the blonde bombshell. In Great Big Beautiful Doll, the Anna Nicole Smith story, authors Eric and Diva Redding paint a lurid picture of a woman with a seemingly unquenchable appetite for sex, booze, drugs, food, money, and stardom. When Anna got fame and stardom, she couldn't handle it, Eric Redding told the Inquirer, and she's still completely out of control. Anna was born Vicki Lynn Hogan in Texas on November 28, 1967, and eventually turned her back on her deputy sheriff mother, Virgie, insisting that Marilyn Monroe was her real mother. No, give me a break. She grew up in the dusty town of Mexia, M-E-X-I-A?
I guess, Mexia?
No, Mexia, Big Mexia, working as a chicken fry cook, and at age 17 married cook Billy Smith. They had a son, Daniel. But after 2 years of marriage, she ditched Smith and headed for Houston to become a stripper. Flat-chested, Vicki was forced to work the less lucrative daytime hours. She began taking on extra work to make money for breast implants, according to the book. Vicki had her first implants in 1989. Later, she had another operation resulting in her 42 double D breasts.
Forget about it.
The stripper's romantic taste allegedly included women, according to the book. The book quotes a fellow dancer who said she was more partial to women because she would get money from men and buy stuff for her girlfriends. How do you like that?
What a gal.
Eric Redding says he witnessed one of Vicki's sexy scenes in a Houston bar. She pulled off a friend's blouse and kissed her breasts. Said Redding, her drinking and drugging and sexual forays were stretching the limits of even the no-holds-barred world of the topless club. Vicki was dancing one day when oil millionaire J. Howard Marshall unfortunately wandered in. He fell in love and began showering her with gifts. Golden showers. In September 1991, Vicki answered an ad and wound up posing nude in a test for Playboy magazine. Boy, they'd have to have like an extra big issue for that, wouldn't they, if she was the centerfold?
She wasn't that fat then.
Playboy went wild for Vicki, but when she was told that the magazine would fly her to California, she became furious, saying, I thought they were going to fly me to L.A. Huh? When they were told the magazine would fly her to California, she became furious, saying, I thought they were going to fly me to L.A. Do you understand that?
I think they're trying to say that she's an idiot and doesn't know where L.A. is.
Oh, I see. I couldn't relate to something quite that stupid. I mean, I do work for Greg, but said Redding she was under the impression that Los Angeles was in New York. Oh, if I would have just kept going. Vicky's initial photo shoot was delayed when she said she'd suffered cuts and bruises from a boating accident. Actually, she'd been in an auto accident and was arrested for a DUI. In 1992, Vicky was linked to Paul Marciano, president of Guess. Oh, yeah, Guess. All the while still taking money from Marshall, who had bought her a $1 million ranch. It was Marciano who came up with her new name, Anna Nicole. Another boyfriend, Clay Spires, claimed Anna got drunk just about every night I was with her, according to the book. She also abused drugs, painkillers, and ecstasy. She kept battling her appetite, too. After 2 liposuction treatments, she began overeating again. Her cousin Melinda Beale will be saying, no relation to Howard. In a month, Anna had gained all the weight back that she had liposuctioned out, $25,000 right down the old turlet. In June 1994, the 26-year-old Anna finally married Marshall, 89. She immediately left for a photo shoot in Greece on the arm of Pierre Dejean, a bodyguard who eventually became her lover, according to the book, leaving Marshall weeping in his wheelchair. During her 14-month marriage, Anna would bring home women for Marshall to ogle, Redding told the Inquirer. Long before Marshall died in 1995, his family battled Anna over the estate. I don't believe Anna will ever see a dime of Marshall's $88 million, says Redding. Howard's son despises her and would rather fight than give the money to Anna. How do you like them apples, huh?
Yeah, whatever.
Nasty fat bitch. Yeah. Isn't New York in California? And I guess Greece is in the pan. 377 votes on the poll. If Neil plays all comedy bits tomorrow, 9/11, will you blow your brains out? What's the deal? Like I said, change it. 379 votes. Better than rehashing last 9/11, 192, almost 51% said that. Sensational, 75, almost 20% said that. Boring, 52, but I'm sure they'll still listen. So you add those three up and you got a lot, you know. In bad taste, 30. Disrespectful, 20. And unpatriotic, 10. A nice, even, wonderful number that we can all relate to, 10. Right?
Right.
Like Tom Brady, even though he wears number 12 on his uniform, he's still 10. 21 till 1, we got, speaking of Tom Brady, a good Michigan boy, Jim Mandich, coming up at 1 o'clock this afternoon, who I'm sure will be raving about the sensational performance of the Patriots last night and just kicking ass over the embarrassingly inept Pittsburgh Steelers. I love watching Bill Cowher on the sideline when the Steelers are getting the crap knocked out of him because he's a nutcase. He's a madman. Hey, this guy, you know, his whole face gets distorted and his jaw drops down to his elbow. It's a beautiful thing to see. Because they kicked their ass last night. And he's screaming at the Schwarzers on the sideline. Ain't going to do any good, Bill. You lose. Schmuck. Hey, speaking of bizarre things, let me tell you about South Florida's climate, man. It blows. Because it's always too hot. It's always too humid. It sucks. Maybe like 4 or 5 days a year are pretty good, but not now. Oleomed is a product you can take to keep you in good health no matter how hot or humid or insufferable it becomes. Oleomed is a soft gel capsule. Inside of it are all kinds of good things, like pharmaceutical-grade olive oil, vitamins, minerals, and herbals, and they make a different product for each part of your body. Oleomed has got a product specifically designed for your prostate, one for your heart, one for your blood pressure and cholesterol. They also have supplements to promote health in your circulatory system, your digestive, your endocrine system, your skin, your bones, and one even for your mind, all using the benefits of the best olive oil you'll find anywhere. And don't forget, Oleomed makes products for men and for women as well. Oleomed's available all over town. If you'd like to try it and see what it does for you, pick some up at Walgreens, Whole Food Markets, Navarro Pharmacy, or Sedano's. If you want to get more information before you buy it, just call their toll-free number and ask away. Call 1-866-OLEOMED. That's 1-866-OLEOMED. And you can order their products right off their informative website, too, if you like, at oleomedamerica.com.
Live and local. This is 560.
The radio's all yours now.
QAM.
I'm going to bang you in the butt, honey.
Tonight on Entertainment Television.
Anna Nicole, thanks a lot for the interview.
I thought about it and was like, okay, let's go for it.
Okay. Well, did you know that those whales in New England that beach themselves, they did it because they wanted to be near a television when your show premieres on Sunday.
Well, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they think you're one of them.
Tonight on
Right, when I went to the bathroom that time. God.
Yeah, you're not trying to say she's stupid, are you?
Yes.
Okay, 12:45 at 560 WQM. We got 12:44. Don't get ahead of yourself now. Just calm down. Got plenty of time. I do have a great article I don't have time for today. So at the beginning of the show tomorrow, even though I'm going to play a lot of comedy bits, that doesn't mean I'm not going to interject some other stuff.
Well, good.
The Long and Short of It by Robert G. Kaiser, Washington Post, although it's very, very critical of the administration and about what the hell is going on, and the American public doesn't know squat about what's going on because they're not telling us. Wouldn't that be unpatriotic to do tomorrow?
No.
Okay. Not that I care. I mean, no matter what you would have said. Would that stop me from reading it?
No.
No. Because only 10 people said that it would be unpatriotic to play the Brits. So just because it happens to be the anniversary of 9/11 doesn't mean that we have to be, force-fed a lot of crap. You'll get more than that from the mainstream media, believe me. They'll be giving you all the pablum, all the propaganda you could ever want, and then some, believe me. Airlines, speaking of giving you something, they don't want to give you anything. Airlines cut back, pinch passengers, say goodbye to peanuts and full-service freebies. Many airlines are charging more for less. It's not just heightened security and flight delays that are making air travel tough these days. It says, in a bid to keep costs under control, full-service carriers are cutting back on freebies from meals and drinks to baggage checks. They're also imposing new fees, raising old ones, and making rules more restrictive than ever. In other words, don't count on pampering or an extra bag of peanuts on your next flight. These days, it's every man for himself. After 9/11, airlines saw 20% of their revenue kicked out from under them. They have to adjust, said Michael Boyd, an airlines analyst and president of the Boyd Group in Evergreen, Colorado. In terms of being able to offer rock-bottom fares to match budget airlines like Southwest, they can't do it. What they have to do is emulate how easy those airlines make it for passengers to do business with them. You never make money saying no to a customer. As it turns out, however, plenty of airlines are saying
no
as they clamp down on rules that hit passengers where it hurts their wallets. The most cumbersome of these changes are being made to non-refundable ticket policies. In the past, passengers holding such tickets could rebook a different flight and pay the difference. Today, not so easy. U.S. Airways, for example, U.S. Scare, announced late in August that passengers with non-refundable tickets who missed their flights won't be able to get on a new one or be placed on standby status. Instead, they must buy a new ticket. And starting next year, miles you earn with non-refundable fares won't count toward free tickets or other loyalty awards. The move has prompted harsh criticism, but other airlines are following suit. Continental and American just announced that non-refundable tickets for flights October 1 or afterwards must be exchanged prior to departure. If you try to swap afterwards, you'll have to buy a new ticket. However, if it's clear you missed your original flight by a few hours due to, say, a flat tire or some other delay out of your control, Continental will rebook you on another flight for no fee, said company spokesman Rasan Johnson. Uh-oh. Just move right ahead. The best defense, be sure you know the rules before you buy your ticket and leave plenty of time to get to the airport. And, of course, now, we were asking about people that were going to fly tomorrow.
Right.
And we had all those brave guys. Oh, yeah, we would fly. I don't think so. Now that they raised from yellow to orange alert. Now that they're getting everybody crapping in their pants. Keep your eye peeled. Keep on high alert. Look to the right, look to the left, look underneath, look in your, bend over and look deep up your ass. Make sure that everything's okay. You don't think that part of that is like covering their ass, do you? Speaking of flying, 29 airport workers facing charges in Miami. I thought that we kept hearing about how great it was in Miami from that old fuddy-duddy Ike Siemens at NBC6.
A model of a system.
A model of a old fuddy-duddy. In fact, that'd be a good poll question one day. Who's the bigger old washed-up fuddy-duddy, Mo Cheswick or Ike Siemens? That's a tough one. A tri-county sweep of airport workers Friday resulted in the arrest of more than 24 people, most of them illegal immigrants accused of lying to get jobs in secure areas, Ike. As part of an ongoing effort prompted by post-9/11 security concerns, 29 current or former employees at the area's major 3 airports are facing federal charges. 8 people who gained access at MIA, 7 connected to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood, and 14 from Palm Beach International Airport. Palm Beach County's got some real goddamn problems lately, you know what?
All around.
Between Teresa Lepore and those votes for Pat Buchanan and just 14 at Palm Beach, which is just about as many as Miami and Fort Lauderdale combined.
Don't forget their Catholic problem.
Whoa! Boy, do they have a series of problems. This is just the tip of the iceberg, said James Goldman, Assistant District Director of Investigations for the INS. Undocumented aliens cannot be gainfully employed in the U.S., but even worse, these people gain access to areas like tarmacs, aircrafts, fueling systems, and cargo. Those arrested allegedly falsified names, social security numbers, documentation, or criminal histories in order to get jobs, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. A U.S. citizen working at MIA and a permanent resident employed at Fort Lauderdale International were arrested on charges that they concealed criminal histories, and on the story goes. So, orange alert. We're not trying to, hurt the airlines or suggest you stay home tomorrow, but it might not be a real bad idea. Not staying home, but not flying. Or even staying home.
Good idea.
You really think there's some people... Yeah, you were already planting the seeds for that earlier. You're not fooling us. Even the audience caught on to that. Oh, I'm not feeling real good, and I've been crapping my brains out. Anyway. Yeah, that's right. Even if they have to wheel you in Fat Boy's chair.
Oh, no.
No, you'd sit on a chair that he said. And if it would have been Josh Friedman's chair, you would definitely not sit on that. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Our close personal fat friend, Josh Friedman. He was stapled. Is he skinny?
No.
Did he really lose any meaningful weight? Hey, speaking of that, what a segue into Balance for Life, you know?
Wow.
See, if he would have been smart, instead of having the staples and jeopardizing his life, he would have gotten his little black sack every day. In fact, Troy Stratford was in this morning talking about his little black sack. It was disgusting. Anyway, Balance for Life will do it for you, like our good, close personal friend, The Beast, who I'm sure by the end of this week will hop on the scale again. He lost 53 pounds at last count in just over 5 months, and you can do the same. Whether you got like 20 pounds to lose or 50 or 100 or even more, Balance for Life is the painless way to do it, because you don't have to starve. You don't have to deprive yourself. That's one of the horrendous things with so many other weight loss programs and fad diets, is that you don't eat anything. And especially the ones where they provide the food, the other ones, and they're little tiny packages like Putrid Systems and like Jenny, whatever her name was, Jenny Craig Worthing. But not with Balance for Life, because in your little black sack, which they deliver right to your door every day by 6 o'clock in the morning, there are 3 delicious gourmet meals with fresh, fantastic ingredients, nothing frozen, nothing in a little box, and 2 delicious snacks right in there, along even with a 16-ounce bottled water. So you're going to be full all day long. You're not going to be having to worry about what you buy in the supermarket or counting calories or carbs, because they make all the choices for you. The only choice you have to worry about is the fact that they let you choose between 2 alternatives for each meal every day that you're on the program. So if you don't like fish, for example, don't order the fish. If you don't like this, if you don't want the baba ganoush, right?
Right, get the tofu.
So, yeah. Oh, that was so bad. But you know what we'll do?
Forget about it.
Right. Let Balance for Life take care of you and get that weight off of you in no time at all, and you'll be looking like a human being, even better than the Beast. That's just about guaranteed. Call Balance for Life today and get started right away. Call 954-568-3229. 954-568-3229, or visit their website if you like at balanceforlife.com.
We're Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Play like men and they look like women.
Pushes a shorty butt, pushes a shorty butt, oh! Pushes a shorty butt, pushes a shorty butt.
Yes.
Cheney said lay off the ventilators. He brought investigation to an end. They were getting too close to the towel-headed bodies down in Texas for a barbecue again. With George and Mom pushes a shorty butt, oh, pushes a shorty butt,
Unbelievable.
pushes a shorty butt, pushes a shorty butt. If they don't impeach this corporate retard, 3,000 lives will never be avenged. 'Cause you brainwashed monkeys are so goddamn stupid, you'll put them back in office again.
Yes.
Pushes a shorty butt, pushes a shorty butt, pushes a shorty butt, pushes a shorty butt. Members of the ARP, pushes a shorty butt, boy, pushes a shorty butt. Pushes a shorty butt, pushes a shorty butt. Got your oyster, Formation of Goyim.
12:55 at 560. Don't forget to go out and vote. You got till 7 o'clock tonight, or whenever they decide to close the polls. The way things are going, it's just more of the same crap. I mean, why would we have thought that they'd improved off of 2 years ago? You know, when you come right down to it.
I don't know.
Still can't get their act together. Go out and vote 243 on the Christian fanatical religionist homophobia amendment. Punch 243. Vote no on hate. And also be sure and vote for Bill McBride, our tap dancing guy. The man that's going to send Jeb Bush back to Texas with a rotten spoon in his ass.
Is that the one that belongs to his daughter?
I'm thinking of those little spoons that some people use, you know?
Yeah, like his daughter?
Now, you don't know that she uses those little tiny spoons.
No, she could probably use it as her pinky nail.
I see. Anyway, somebody faxes in, and thank you very, very much. Let's see, here's Bring Tom Home. It says, okay, maybe we're stretching a bit. We're stretching it a bit.
Chuck found all this stuff, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Chuck. But it sure beats ripping out pages from that teen mag. You can have your very own life-size poster of Tom Welling. You'll just need a printer, some tape, and a lot of wall space. I got space. It's, actually, it's got the whole thing where you find it. I know where to find it, too. So there's Tom Welling, and here's the, and the bad news is, though, this is depressing. Today is only the 10th.
Right, I saw.
And how come that is? I see, because HBO is not like a regular network. And so they start their season whenever the hell they feel like it, as opposed to like other networks. In addition to which, of course, Fox ain't a regular network either, so they do whatever the hell they want. So instead of next Tuesday, a week from tonight, for the new season of Smallville, it's 2 weeks from tonight. Oh,
forget about it.
Yeah, by then maybe I will, but I doubt it. I'll have my eye peeled.
Build the anticipation.
I mean, the government is on there telling us right now.
Situation in Iraq.
Yeah, see? They're on there right now telling us about the yellow light up to orange light. We're on heightened alert. So we have to stay on alert. Let's see. It says this season, there's a little tease on what's going to happen this year on Smallville. This season, as Clark grows older, he finds his life becomes even more complicated. He'll discover an unsettling new power, and a new form of kryptonite will bring about frightening effects on his personality. In a surprising twist, the secret of Clark's true identity will be revealed to one of his closest friends. Oh, that couldn't be, what's his name, bald-headed. You think?
Yes.
It is?
Well, that's my guess.
Oh, that's just
and his
your guess.
frightening new power?
I still don't understand how they're going to become like mortal enemies. I don't get that.
He's going to do something accidentally to Luthor, and Luthor is going to blame him for it.
You know that?
Well, that's how it happened in the comic book.
I see. Well, instead of like spilling the beans to the audience for right now,
forget about it.
Yeah, or you're going to like spoil all the excitement.
I think
for
he's
everybody.
going to fly.
No, it says here, Clark doesn't wear glasses. There is no suit, and he can't fly. Between the boy he thought he was and the man he is destined to become are the stories of Smallville. So I don't think he's going to be flying it anytime soon on this show. This is like the interim stage.
Maybe he'll get the heat vision.
I guess he learned. Well, no, he's already got that.
Oh, that's right. So that only leaves flying.
Yeah, and the suit.
Right.
And the glasses. That great.
Disguise,
oh, yeah,
right.
Guess what's on one of our channels? Showcase something or other here every afternoon, like 75 episodes of Batman.
Oh!
Which I think is all the episodes. Boy, that's great. And they couldn't fly either. How do you like that? Although the rumor was, that's what Alfred told me. Okay, let's get to the poll. We'll get on to the Mad Dog here, because at 1:15, if you want to go on to CNN and get all bent out of shape, they're going to have like the briefing. They're going to give you their briefs. And, of course, some people will in their briefs, but that's because we got a lot of hysterical people. Don't get all psychotic just because they raise the alert, because a lot of it is covering their ass, and a lot of it is stuff that they really don't know what they're talking about. So
forget about it.
Yeah, just keep your eye peeled and be alert, as like usual. Like Greg, alert. 408 votes on our poll today. If Neil plays all comedy bits. And, of course, it's already a given. I'm not going to play all comedy bits because I got to start with that story, that article from the Washington Post, see? So those people who thought that it was boring, we've got at least one piece of stuff there, which we'll definitely use. And it's 4 pages long. Okay, you ready for that?
I'm ready.
But other than that, if Neil plays mostly comedy bits tomorrow 9/11, it'll be better than rehashing last 9/11, 208, sensational 80, boring 56, in bad taste 31, disrespectful 22, and unpatriotic 11. 11 heartless, gutless, spineless cowards out there call me unpatriotic if I don't sit here and suck up to... Well, guess what?
Forget about it.
That's my suggestion to you, okay? The Jim Mandich Show. Jim is going to carry on at great length about those sensational Patriots and the beautiful Tom Brady between 1 and 3. Hank, go